Liberation hero and receive a commemorative liberation gift from Guam War Survivors Memorial Foundation. During the month of July, KUAM will feature your submitted heroes on KUAM News, as well as on our digital platforms. Please email your submissions to liberation@kuam.com. And let's give everyone a chance to reflect and remember the special times and people in our history. Brought to you by Coast 360 Federal Credit Union, Ordot Dental Clinic, and Vince Jewelers. Happy 77th Liberation Day, Guam.
McDonald's Big Breakfast, a warm, hearty platter with scrambled eggs, sausage, English muffin, and a hash brown. Take time for breakfast. At McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Make it through the week with Monday's Work Week weather forecasts. Brought to you by Docomo Pacific on KUAM News Morning Show The Link, presented across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Catch the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM on KUAM TV 8 or TV 11. Live streaming across the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook and Instagram. Rain, shine, wind, or breeze, we got your weather forecast covered. Brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Deals, deals, and more deals going on now at your nearest Domino's Pizza. Purchase any large one-topping pizza for just $10.99, and just for $24.99, you can get a classic combo deal that includes 2 large one-topping pizzas, and to close off the deal, a refreshing 2-liter Coca-Cola just for you to enjoy. Save time and order online at Domino's.gu. Some conditions apply.
Listen, watch, and learn from the daily Tomorrow News updates from KUAM News. Catch them on The Link during the 8 o'clock hour, streaming online on Isla Radio, or on the KUAM News YouTube channel for your convenience. Tune in and stay informed, all while preserving our precious culture through the daily use of our native Chamorro language. Tomorrow News updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
Chris and Sabrina with The Link here on Breeze 93.9 FM.
Feeling the uncertainty, and now you're putting all your trust in me to build a better life with you. Turn this house to a home, start a family with my baby girls. But there's no happiness if there's no trust. Like Barry said, they gonna talk about us. So I'ma need my nanny girl in my corner, cause it's just you and me against the world. And you got a time you've been waiting on, and I got a life I've been waiting for. And we know love ain't got crystal ball that can help us understand. Made my mistakes, ain't made yours, and now I appreciate you way more. And we know love ain't got no crystal ball that can help us understand how to make a perfect plan, how to make a perfect plan, how to make a perfect plan, how to make a perfect plan.
We love with no instructions to follow or show us the way. Keep smiling with just a little bit of faith, it'll work out okay. Even if we doubt, I can't lie, I'm all in. Let's make a promise to be there, cause it's worth it, worth it.
You got a time you've been waiting on, and I got a life I've been waiting for. And we know love ain't got no crystal ball that can help us understand. Made my mistakes, ain't made yours, and now I appreciate you way more. And we know love ain't got no crystal ball that can help us understand how to make a perfect plan, how to make a perfect plan, how to make a perfect plan, how to make a perfect. Now we can hit the road, and you could be the show. See, I'ma sell the tickets and let everybody know. I can't see the future, I can't tell your fortune. We don't have to look hard to see what's important. I know you made a couple bad memories. Let's make a pact to stick together, never leave. Won't you let me paint that picture, lead the way and take me with you. As long as I'm your man, we don't need a perfect plan. You got a time you've been waiting on, and I got a life I've been waiting for. And we know love ain't got
Così uli di sombranza tenmak e zu ita saluda antes di niga Radzaudzan malakes fredzas durante todo in memu a nogi distancia como kupugi palu Zangiman malak guafi Ikonum nasugi airi prebatu la noci nai banderata gaigi pues atan fanni bandera kau Esta pagua pumalapa Gilo tanu man libri Sentami ti man ko badi
Chamoru Puritanota Kantai Matunonya Gitoru Iluga Paraiona Parai Gloria Abiba Isla Senpai
make everything so easy. Boy, I'll be faithful. Promise not to hurt your heart. Swear I'm not able. I loved you from the very start. My love's on the table. Take it how you want it, boy. Yeah. Take it how you want it. Boy, I'll be faithful. I promise not to hurt your heart. Swear I'm not able. I loved you from the very start. My love's on the table. Take it how you want it, boy. Yeah. Take it how you want it, boy. Boy, I'm all yours. Do it how you wanna. Put me on your shoulders. Got me a soldier. Here's the plan. Stay forever in my heart. Always by your side. Till death do us apart. Don't worry, boy. Don't worry about a thing. You can put your trust in me. Say the word, what it is. It got you bugging. I'll be there whenever you are stressing. And when I do, close to you, all of your friends ain't got no clue. I just can't wait to be with you. I promise I'll make everything so easy. Boy, I'll be faithful. Promise not to hurt your heart. Swear I'm not able. I loved you from the very start. My love's on the table. Take it how you want it, boy. Yeah. Take it how you want it. Boy, I'll be faithful. I promise not to hurt your heart. Swear I'm not able. I loved you from the very start. My love's on the table. Take it how you want it, boy. Yeah. Take it how you want it, boy. Take it how you want it. How you like it. When you need it. Yeah. Take it how you want it. How you like it. When you need it. Take it how you want it. How you like it. When you need it. Take it how you want it. How you like it. When you need it. Take it how you want it. How you like it. When you need it. Oh. Take it how you want it. How you want it. Take it how you want it.
Good morning, Guam. Right on. Ow! I feel good. Good morning, Jay.
Do we need to get like a bunch of people like carrying the cape? And
I need a robe, like someone behind me with a robe. Like, yeah, get him, Chris. Go, yeah.
Can't go on anymore. Can't go on. Can't do it. Then all of a sudden,
Wow.
Okay, for those of you who are younger than 38,
Yeah, just watch the Chadwick Boseman movie
there you go.
where
Very
he played
nice.
James Brown, guys.
James Brown.
Yep.
The hardest working man in showbiz. Of course, we feel that way about Joser,
Yeah.
but James Brown.
If you don't know
Legend.
James Brown, do yourself a favor. Just Google "I Feel Good, I Got You."
And isn't it sad how so many people discovered James Brown only through Rocky IV? I mean, if they discovered him and then
Living in America. Out there.
and then of course he got then he got upstaged because like Apollo died. Man.
Yeah. Sorry, hey, that's our tangent for the morning. James Brown, the Godfather of Soul.
Throw in the towel, Rock. I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I got this. We get trained for this, Adrian.
Okay, first of all, let us get right. I mean,
Good morning. First of all, good morning, guys.
They're
Thank
very,
you.
very big items to talk about,
Right,
obviously,
yeah.
and these are very, very serious.
Sorry, I'm late. I forgot my phone, and I had to turn all the way back.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
But you
Because
got.
now I just can't go a day without my phone. So many people trying to call me. No, it's because I got the videos in there from we do Talk Shop Tuesdays at Pacific Grocers.
And you made ice cream.
I made ice cream, guys, but all the videos were in my phone, so I had to, give that to you anyway. So here I am.
Speaking of videos,
Here I am.
You actually captured some very compelling video yesterday afternoon.
Yeah. So we got the call from the sources that Nicholas Moore was going to be transferred to local GPD custody yesterday afternoon. But when you get these tips, you go, but you never know what the timeline is. So Went down there around 2. He ended up coming out around like 5 something, many hours later.
Yeah, we got that like right before news time.
Right, yeah, literally, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember we're sitting in the truck, and I was looking at the time, and it was like 4:45, and I was like, let's just give it till 5. Give it till 5, and then we'll go. I mean, I brought the dogs and my lady, because we're just going to swing by. But like I said, you never know. And so it ended up being that he actually arrived here over the weekend, is what I was told by some of the prison staff over there at DOC. Nicholas Moore, by the way, is the main suspect in the death of Michael Castro. He was charged yesterday. And we got it
two
all.
separate cases.
2 separate cases.
Yeah.
One attempted murder, the other murder. So anyway, we had heard that he came over the weekend, but that his custody was being transferred from the federal side, because he was extradited from Florida. It was like federal marshals that brought him here, but then they had to transfer him over to the local custody because it's a local murder case, right? And so that's what the holdup was we were there, and then the Fed marshals ended up coming with all the paperwork, and then it turned into a delay where DOC has to process. They had to process in all these people who got arrested over the weekend or something, and it ended up taking a while. But he came out. I mean, he came out, no cuffs. People were commenting a lot about, he wasn't wearing handcuffs, but that's only because he was brought here by the feds and housed at DOC in order to be transferred to the custody of GPD, and they arrested him. So that's why he came out with no cuffs. And, of course, when they took him into custody, they cuffed him up. But, yeah, it was definitely...
We should play that video, because
we're gonna play
is
it.
very, very powerful.
Yeah, we're going to play it coming up. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah. Also, our island, very, very tragic.
Yeah.
News. Again, right before news time, like right before we went on, the 140th COVID-related death has been suffered by our island. A 75-year-old man who was unvaccinated and had pre-existing health conditions. That from the Joint Information Center on the release last night. And I saw this and I was like, man.
And 16 positives, too.
Yeah.
Right, so I did put out
granted, that is like the weekend.
That's the weekend, right?
Yeah,
okay.
the weekend bulk.
Okay.
Because I don't believe
I don't know. I don't like it when they say, it's from the weekend, because it's 16-16, no matter what. You know
but
what
it's
doesn't matter if it's
Friday,
from Tuesday.
I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Because they're not issuing like.
So it's not like 16 at one time. It's more like 3 here, 2 there, 1 there. I got it. So we did put out the Ask the Public Health. Can they come on? And there's always a lot to talk about. 7 o'clock, we're going to do a little after-party style panel on Congressman St. Nicholas's speech, which was some pretty ambitious ideas in that thing. There was one part where he was talking about working with USDA to open a slaughterhouse on Guam, and there was also a couple other items where he talked about getting federal lands returned to be used for grazing. And then even government lands used for grazing animals for the slaughterhouse. There's a lot of stuff in there. And so we got our little panel here. We'll get Phil Flores. Actually, I asked a bunch of people to come on. So we'll see who shows up this morning at 6:38 right now. Good morning. Then Ray Tapasnia, Gora, they're doing a bunch of things. Okay. Yes, thank you. So we're getting Chima at 8:30.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Art. And then 9, we're getting Environmental Health Division of Public Health as they went out on a bunch of inspections. And we'll be talking with Jerome and Tamara here. Remember, Malou Scroggs retired.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's still doing something with the department because she reached out to help coordinate the guests for today. And I wanted to ask these guys because, the homeless shelter that we are, what's it called? Global Dorm?
Yeah.
They had inspection there, and they had some violations, which I thought was pretty nuts because that's a government housing homeless facility. And so we'll talk about that and any other. I don't know if there's any rats or roaches during the inspections they did, but we'll find out. And then 9:30, the Guam Youth Congress. I love getting these guys on, man. I think it's important. We always talk about, the youth or the children of the future, but nobody's really given the Youth Congress the time of day over the last however many years. So I was telling the Vice Speaker, Mr. Al Labang, I said, let's do this. Let's make it kind of regular. come on and find out their perspective. You know what I mean? Because they do have some pretty interesting perspectives on some of these issues that we've been discussing.
And we've also talked about that several elected leaders over the years have been previous members of the Guam Youth Congress. Roy Respicio.
It's a pipeline.
Yeah. And so, like, they are very empathetic to, you know, like when the Youth Congress comes up with, like, they have an opinion about something or they want change, you know, they can mentor them, but at the same time, they're like, you know, tell me what you think.
Right. So that's coming up. Also, we got Cover Me, and then guys, the KUAM Podcast Network. Thank you so much for the feedback on our Hoffa podcast.
I wanted to say, you know,
awesome.
As important and as significant as Congressman Mike Nicholas's speech was yesterday.
It was a crazy day for social media yesterday.
I want to say I think he got upstaged by Glenn and Josh.
I think he did
because he got those two. The Hoffa Zoo podcast dropped yesterday on Facebook Live, got a ton of views. Glenn was like so generous. He's even, you know, he's been in the comments so much today, just thanking everybody for watching, for their support, for, you know, showing their love. He also says, Glenn does, he put in the comments earlier, he goes, there's a massive intention today in Tamuning at St. Anthony Parish for prayer for greater pastoral support of Guam's LGBT community. And remember, we mentioned this yesterday on this show. Glenn and Archbishop Michael Burns had a very honest conversation about, you know, about faith and alternative lifestyles, and, you know, like what the Bible says, what it means to be a devout Catholic and yet be a member of the LGBT community. Tanya Munya, you know, the supervisor of the marshals yesterday, who identifies as LGBTQ, she was sharing, you know, her own experience with that. She said she cannot be a godparent, but she still chooses.
What did she say? I can't be a godparent, but they'll take my money.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
But yeah, so thank you, thank you guys for being so open, so wonderful to Glenn and Josh for their podcast yesterday. They did a fantastic job, and it was a great show.
Yes, and Glenn, break a leg, man. I know you're doing he's doing the Equality, which is this LGBTQIA plus minus panel with the district court.
Yeah, so guys, please register for that. Again, guambar.org. It's free for the community. You know, it's hosted by the Guam Bar Association and the district court. We had Francis Tidinko Gatewood on yesterday, of course, the chief judge, and Tanya, and that's gonna be a really, really good one. We've got at least like one or two members of our staff who are gonna watch it. And not even because they're covering it, because they're just so interested in the discussion that's gonna ensue.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But of course, everyone's talking about this Michael Castro murder case and video with Nicholas Moore. Well, I was getting dragged a little bit.
Were you?
Yeah, and some of our comments on the Facebook and the Instagram. We'll talk about it. I'm going to read out some of these comments. And
well, you actually not only spoke up. I mean, every once in a while, like a reporter will just say,
yeah. But some of these comments, were just
when you have what we call a perp walk, right?
Yeah. It's a perp walk.
Yeah, a perpetrator is being led into or out of the jail by Guam Police Department officers or agents, you know, whatever the case may be. And typically a reporter, especially a very, very dogged one like yourself, would typically say, you know, do you have anything to say? You know,
I don't really think I'm a reporter, Jay. I mean, I'll go out there, and if something needs to be shot or a question needs to be asked, I'll ask it. But
you know, it was the question that you asked. You basically said, Nicholas, did you kill Michael Castro?
Yeah. What else am I going to ask? Hello, that's what he's here for.
Yeah. But that's what I was saying. Most reporters would just say, do you have anything to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you came right out and you directly asked the question, and apparently that was not well received by some people online.
Some people, yeah, but you guys got your opinions, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologize to anyone. I don't got to explain myself, but I will try to later.
And that was I mean, you can see it on the video. That was a very tense moment.
Yeah. Wow, and we were able to get up.
Silence is deafening, as they say.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Someone commented like, "Wow, he couldn't even say no." But what would you say though, right? Would you say no? I mean, yeah, I would. Would you say no if you did it? But I'm pretty sure he was advised to just remain silent.
I was going to say, like, most attorneys, they tell like their clients, if they've met with them by that point, they're like, don't say anything.
Especially with all the stuff that's gone on with this case, I'm pretty sure his attorney was probably like, do not say anything, whatever.
But still, as journalists, we still pose the question, you know, and you got it out there. What can I ask you?
Well, you know, also, Jay,
wait, what was it like behind the camera? Because of all the people that were shooting, I think there were like 3 media organizations.
There was two from the Post. There was Don and
Dave.
Yeah,
Dave. Good
me.
Guys.
Yeah, great guys.
We've known them for years. They're
So first
amazingly
it was me
talented.
and Dave, and we're all hanging out, and
But then when you said that out loud, what was the reaction from from behind the camera?
I don't know, because I was filming it too. Yeah, I was filming it, so, and I didn't really think, oh, what should I ask him? I just figured it's going to be weird if we're all just quiet, so let me ask something, right? You know what I mean? And you never know. Some people there were some comments were like, oh, this stupid guy asking these stupid questions, like, what do you think he's going to say? Yeah, I did it. Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they do say something, whether it's coming out of court and we got that, the media got that F. Mandania task force. You know what I mean? You just got to ask, and that's the thing. Like my grandma always used to say, if you're shy, you don't try. So always ask questions. Kids out there, ask questions.
Joe, sir, how many perp walks have you shot in your career over the years? Too many to recall, but you've done a bunch.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
And that's standard. I mean, you guys think I ask crazy questions. If that was Sabrina, it would have been like because I talked to her afterwards, and I was like, what'd you think? And she was like, oh, it's good, but you should have asked what was his message to Michael Castro's family. And I kicked myself because, I was just in the moment. I was like, damn, dude.
And that typically is the question that Bree would ask when, and
of course,
she herself, Bree has shot probably more perp walks than she
Bree's
can
a
even
badass
remember.
all the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what you guys expect though, but there were some comments. There was one on Instagram where I don't know. We're gonna kind of go into it because I mean, dude, if we can't even ask questions at a perp walk anymore because you guys are too sensitive or woke or whatever, I mean, what the hell's going on? And I just what's crazy, Jay, is I just had an incident over the weekend where I showed up in Jotnia, Asaguero Street. Because we had got a tip that there was a suspect who was barricaded. They barricaded himself in the home, and there was like a ton of cops there. I mean, they had the helmet, and there was all SWAT. And so when we get a tip, guys, like if any of us are in the area, if I'm in the area, I'll be like, oh, I'm right here. Let me go by. Right? And so I did. I went by, and I was filming on this public road, and this guy's family... Well, one dude got all aggro, and he was like, hey, cut it, malfunction. Turn that camera off, man. I don't give dimes for the news. Literally like that. And he was all like coming at me and stuff. And, God, man. Sometimes I just wish I didn't work for the media so you could just be like, oh, yeah, bro? Because, people sometimes they just... And so, I mean... I was like, okay, I did the math. I'm like, this guy's got like 20 of his family out here.
And to be fair, that does happen.
It does totally all the time.
But also to be fair, I know that you've told me off camera there have been several times when you're actually shooting something and respectfully you'll maintain your distance,
of
and the
course.
family will actually say, no, come in closer.
Yeah.
No,
and I mean, I get it. Nobody wants to be filmed, but
it runs the gamut of.
I don't want to be out there filming your ass. Yeah. I'm just doing my job. Like that's how I feed my kids, dude. So don't come at me all aggro. I mean, you can. It's a free country. But, I mean, this guy was even like, we posted the story, and then he put some things in the comments like, dude, relax, bro.
I saw some of the comments on Instagram. So I guess apparently family members were like, hey, Primo, you guys okay over there?
And just so, that was funny.
Yeah,
and
they were just checking on their family members.
We check on things. Like, if something happens and we get a tip, we're going to go and we're going to film it, and we're going to try and get the story. And if it turns out that it wasn't as big as the tip we got, then, like I shot a bunch of videos Saturday at Jotnia. We didn't use any of it. We used 2 still pics. Because, again, the situation was, there was a suspect barricaded, but, no one got killed. So the newsworthiness of it kind of dialed down a little bit. Just remark our perspective. I don't think anybody, I don't want to be filming Nicholas Moore, getting all in his face. I don't, but we got a job to do. And it's not just for me feeding my kids. It's for you guys. And most importantly, it's for people like Michael Castro's family. Right? His mother has been coming on this show since last year, since he was first missing. Coming on this show, crying, asking for the public's help.
Miss Melanie, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so, there's a reason we do these things. And that's what I was kind of thinking about yesterday. I was like, man, this case is so crazy. Is this young boy, this Michael Castro boy, I mean, missing for how many months, and his mother just so desperate to find out any information about him that she's willing to go on a Zoom and come on the link and beg the public for any type of information about her son's disappearance.
So what was when you were there, what was your mental process? Did you already kind of predetermined that you were going to ask that specific question, or was that just in the moment?
Well, I mean, that's kind of like the question you would ask, right? I mean, he's facing murder charges, so you want to ask, like, did you do it, right? So, yeah, but I wasn't really thinking. I was just like, let me just ask.
So you just reacted. Huh?
If he says something, he says something. If he doesn't, then, I mean, it's out there, and people are going to make their own determinations, right? Because I do it, too. When you see a perp walk, a local one or a national one, let's all be honest, we're all judging the person, right? That's just part of our nature, right? We're looking at the body language. We're looking at the eyes, right? We're trying to determine this person's guilt or innocence based on a 3-minute video, right? So it's going to play out. He's probably going to be magistrated today, and then we'll find out more information from whatever the police detectives were able to get out of him during the questioning that we're assuming took place right after the GPD took custody of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we do know, as Chris just said, so he is in custody. He has been arrested. He's been booked and confined, and does face charges for 2 separate cases.
Two separate cases.
One was murder, another was attempted murder.
But I want to commend the Guam Police Department and the federal authorities, because this case dragged on for so long, and granted, there's still no real closure with it because we don't know where Michael Castro's body is. But the fact that they were able to get a suspect after months and months and months of people just saying, oh, it's another person who disappeared, nothing's ever going to happen. We didn't hear anything because they were working the case, guys. They were working the case. And Michael's mom told me plenty times last year, like, man, Chris, I can't, this is what they told me, but I can't say anything because we don't want to jeopardize the case. So it's kind of a balance, right? I mean, sometimes we want to stick the camera in your face and video you. Other times we want to hold back because we know that a heavy hand sometimes breaks things. It's 6:51, Tuesday, June 29th. Pacific Points, IT&E, Jack in the Box, and Cavo Enterprises. Proud to present this episode of The Link with the very latest from the KUAM News team. Ladies and gentlemen, mostly ladies, Jason Solis. Good morning, Jason.
All right, good morning and Hafide, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Guam's 140th COVID-19 related fatality occurred at the U.S. Naval Hospital in Agana Heights just after 3 p.m. on Sunday. The patient was a 75-year-old man who was unvaccinated with underlying health conditions. He was admitted on June the 21st. Additionally, 16 new cases of coronavirus were identified out of 1,012 tests performed Friday through Sunday. Again, we have now suffered 140 deaths since last March. There have been 8,344 total cases. 82 of your fellow Guamanians are in active isolation right now, and over 8,100 people have recovered from the virus. The CAR score, and this is interesting, Chris, has increased to 1.2. The architect, of course, as the CAR score, Dr. Felix Cabrera, has said that is the threshold point when they really start paying attention, with more intent. Or actually, of course, they always pay attention.
Wow, how did it go up to 1.2?
Well, when it reaches 1.2, that's cause for concern. So,
we'll ask Chima this morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, now let's go back to the newsroom where Adriana has this morning's Link update.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Hafide, good morning, everyone. I'm Adriana Cotero with your headlines here on The Link. It's been about 2.5 weeks since 23-year-old Nicholas Wayne Moore was arrested in Florida for the murder of 27-year-old Michael Castro, an attempted murder in a separate shooting case. And now Moore is finally on island to answer the charges. Here's more. 23-year-old Nicholas Moore is no longer on federal hold and is now in the custody of the Guam Police Department. On Monday afternoon, GPD Chief Stephen Ignacio confirmed that murder suspect Moore was on island after being extradited back from Florida. District Court of Guam Chief Judge Francis Tedinko Gatewood granted the government's request to dismiss the federal complaint brought down on Moore for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. While his federal case was dismissed without prejudice, he still has to answer to major local charges. He faces murder and attempted murder from 2 separate shooting cases that occurred in October of last year. The first, a drive-by shooting in Agana Heights where the victim survived, and the second, the deadly shooting of 27-year-old Michael Castro, who was missing for 8 months. Court documents state Castro is believed to have been shot multiple times with a pistol while inside his car. The pistol was confiscated at Moore's residence and matched Castro's DNA. His body is suspected to have been disposed in the ocean by way of Moore's father's boat. Moore's father is Leroy Moore, owner of Unitech Environmental Guam. It was last week on The Link when Chief Ignacio offered more details into the investigations.
We actually sent two of our agents from criminal investigation out to Florida to work with the U.S. Marshals so that once they picked up Nicholas Moore, we could step in and attempt to conduct an interrogation or interview regarding the case. And of course, I'm not sure what the outcome was, or whether or not he provided any statements. But we were there when he was picked up. And then, we went around and did investigative work. We talked to whoever he may have been living with, whether it's just a family, a friend, a relative, and see if they had any information as to that they could provide that may be helpful in the investigation that we're conducting.
Moore's attorney Mike Phillips declined to comment, stating that he has not officially spoken with his client at this time.
Guam is reaping the benefits of an unprecedented federal windfall, all in the midst of a devastating pandemic. But Delegate Michael San Nicolas, during his annual State of the Congress address Monday, cautioned that the eyes of history will be upon local leaders as to how all this money is spent.
As of June of this year, Guam has received over $2.5 billion in federal pandemic aid. Of this amount, $1.8 billion was paid in the form of 95 different grants, with over $1 billion supporting over 28,000 unemployed workers, mostly in our private sector.
There's more. In addition to the hundreds of millions in direct assistance to individuals, families, and local businesses.
On top of all of this, we have $600 million for our local government to deploy for pandemic recovery. All of these resources have prevented our island at large from suffering catastrophic generational loss, not only in direct support into the pockets of our people and onto the tables of our families, but in the coffers of our government.
In fact, it was enough to turn a multi-year, multi-million-dollar accumulated deficit into an operational surplus, even in the middle of a pandemic. And that's still not all. San Nicolas also hailed the dramatic increase in the Medicaid reimbursement percentage, the increase in child tax credits, and the previously announced 100% reimbursement of earned income tax credits.
This funding is annual and ongoing, not a one-time thing. So we will see permanent improvement in our general fund that will help us fill the gaps between cash and appropriations, which should see tax refunds paid out faster.
And if President Biden's National Infrastructure Initiative pushes through as expected, we could see millions more in highway construction and mass transit funding. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, says San Nicolas, to set up the island for the future.
And with $600 million in federal funds available for deployment and other various federal investments we have outlined here today, we are strongly situated in the months and years ahead for a generational golden age of resources on our island not seen since the early 1990s. What we do with these resources is going to define where we go generations from now. There will not be another $600 million in the future. There is no more EITC or Medicaid gap to fill. We will not see a similar confluence of circumstances that will bring our credit ratings up and increase our debt ceiling capacity like we have today. Which means that the people in this room, to include myself, if we screw this up, we screw it up permanently.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
The Guam Department of Education sent out an urgent formal notice to all private, non-public, and charter schools, warning of a cease and desist for all federally funded summer school activities. According to Federal Programs Administrator Ike Santos, these schools were not abiding by certain requirements.
Guam Department of Education Federal Programs Administrator Ike Santos has yet to sign off on any standard service agreements from private, non-public, and charter schools summer programs that are utilizing Education Stabilization Fund Program 2 state education agencies and American Rescue Plan state educational agencies grants.
When I was asking, where are these service agreements? And so in short, I had to give a cease and desist. If you don't give me a service agreement, how am I going to pay your teachers?
In order for any federal funds to be expended, there has to be a form of approval and a relationship between an entity and GDOE federal programs, which serves as the grants office. According to Santos, this ensures the federal funds are safeguarded and protected.
And so the concern that I had was that they are continuing. You had the charter schools and certain private non-public schools that are receiving these federal funds that are wanting to pay their teachers, but I have yet to receive any standard service agreement.
Santos met via Zoom Monday morning with all the participants.
And we specifically asked, we don't want you to stop, but what we do want you to do is to abide by these requirements, because we need to ensure that teaching and learning occurs, but at the same time safeguarding these federal dollars.
He says since that meeting with the respective schools, all have been cooperative and are prioritizing to get the necessary documentation in.
I just need justification to support the documents that we're going to expend, to ensure that as we expend the funds, we dot our I's and cross our T's.
Santos explains why he believes the issue occurred in the first place.
I'll be honest with you, people were excited because it's the first time using these CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan without realizing that there's documentations. And in the past, the Catholic schools used their own, and they didn't ask for federal funds. They would just charge tuition. And now they're not charging tuition because the teachers are being compensated using these CARES Act funds and the American Rescue funds. But as they use these funds, there has to be some form of internal controls and ensuring that what these teachers said they're doing, they're actually doing. That teaching and learning is occurring. And that, for the private, non-public, and charter schools, they were just overzealous as to making sure that they implement the activity without realizing that there are documentations required so that they can be promptly compensated.
That's it for now. We'll see you tonight for KUAM News Primetime.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Real quickly, we want to get you up to speed on the tragedy that is ensuing in South Florida, as a confirmed number of deaths in the Surfside condominium collapse rose to 9 this weekend, while more than 150 people remain unaccounted for. Dozens of rescue workers searched the rubble for survivors for the 4th day.
With the death toll rising, rescue crews continue the desperate search for life at the collapsed Surfside condo building. They used a crane to remove this large metal structure. Overnight and into Sunday, workers have been cutting a 40-foot deep trench into the rubble.
We continue to sweep the mound with our canines, using all of the technology available to us and machinery to lift the debris.
Buses took family members to visit the site of the collapse on Sunday.
They need to be close to their loved ones. They need to see what's going on firsthand.
Mike Noriega's grandmother Hilda is among the missing.
She's 92 years old, going on 62 years old. She's just so full of energy, and she just loves people.
Now, an Israeli search and rescue team is joining crews working around the clock at the site.
There is always hope. God is not promised succeed. He obeys you to make your efforts.
Newly released emails from 2018 show an engineering firm estimated the building needed more than $9 million in repairs. An earlier report from the firm found the ground floor pool deck that rested on a concrete slab was incorrectly angled and had major structural damage. It also uncovered abundant cracking and spalling of concrete columns, beams, and walls in the parking garage. But the report did not indicate those issues could lead to a collapse. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, Surfside, Florida.
And as always, everybody, please go to KUAM.com for the very latest Guam news headlines. Stay tuned because we have a version of the after party coming up next. We will dissect, deconstruct, and discuss everything that happened with Congressman Michael San Nicolas' address delivered yesterday. Stay tuned. That's coming up after this.
Our World War II survivors have endured more sacrifice, suffering, fear, hope, and perseverance than we can ever imagine. Their stories have been passed down from generation to generation and have become a central part of the legacies and histories of our families. As we commemorate our 77th annual liberation, we invite you to share these stories and special memories as we present My Liberation Hero. During the month of July, KUAM will feature these tributes on KUAM News as well as on our digital platforms. We ask that you start your video or written submissions with the phrase, My Liberation Hero is, And please submit pictures of your heroes if you have them. Send your emails to liberation@kuam.com. And let's give everyone a chance to reflect and remember these special times and people in our history. Happy 77th Liberation Day, Guam.
Brought to you by Coast 360 Federal Credit Union, Ordot Dental Clinic, and Vince Jewelers.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
KUAM News, in partnership with the Guam Visitors Bureau, brings you the Guam Safe and WTTC Safe Travel Certified Program Showcase. Look out for this powerful symbol for visitors, island residents, and industry workers alike, as it represents establishments with a consistent global commitment to safety practices. Stamped with approval by the Guam Visitors Bureau and the World Travel Tourism Council. Every Monday on KUAM News will feature a different local business who's taken the Safe Guam and Safe Travels pledge to maintain health and safety standards to get Guam back on track. Log on to visitguam.com to see how your business can receive the designation, what businesses in our community are Guam Safe certified, and have the WTTC Safe Travel certified.
Family platter of fried chicken? Check. Tray of red rice? Check. Birthday cake? Check. 1 case of water? Check. 12-pack of beer? Check. 2 cases of Pepsi?
Check. When you have a long checklist but are short on time, we got you. Get it delivered by us. Order on the app or website at uno-go.com. Guam on demand.
Shoot, I forgot the paper product.
Oh wait, Uno Go has that too.
Let me surprise you with your favorite things. Dance with me by the ocean under the moonlight. Cause I'm loving how it shines on you, as the sweet, sweet scent of your perfume just takes me away to a land of peace, near the sea of love, near the gardens of nature in the heavens above. And I know it's real, more than a dream, when you're alone with me and just falling in love right here in paradise. Ooh, I hope you're loving the view. Let this tropical breeze set you in the mood. Just falling in love right here in paradise. Ooh,
Hey, good morning. Morning. Good morning. 7:08 right now on the link. Big speech yesterday, Congressman Michael Nicholas in his congressional address at the Guam Congress Hall. With little fanfare, I found a lot of people didn't even know it was happening, but it definitely did happen. The congressman delivering on a variety of issues. Of course, there was the big take credit for the federal aid that came down out of the nation's capital. I think he said something like $2.3 billion. And then he also kind of went into, let's not blow this opportunity, guys. Right? We're never going to get $600 million again, and to not waste it. Right? Go ahead, Phil.
I like how he took credit for eliminating the deficit, which to me was a direct shot at Lou. And that's a big question I got out of yesterday. I thought it was a very, very, very good speech. That last 5-10 minutes, very forceful. It just made me wonder when he's going to resign from Congress and start his campaign for governor.
Yeah, a lot of talk about that, Phil. Hey, good morning, by the way. Right on. Good morning, Phil. Yeah, Phil Flores, a former Republican Party chair. Not used to seeing him this early in the morning. We have Beauty Camacho, who's been on the after party a bunch of times, and she was most recently in the media as a survivor of domestic violence. So always admire your courage and your insights, Beauty. It's good to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
We have Joni Kerr of GCC. She's wearing her environmentalist hat this morning. Asked her on to kind of go through maybe some of the issues relative to the things you deal with, Joni, and maybe kind of parcel out the items that you took interest with during the congressman's speech. Good morning, Joni.
Morning.
Sean.
Glad to be here.
Of course, we're so glad. We love your Zoom background, by the way. She's in the Harlem Tunnel right now. Guys, ask permission before you ask her a question. Sean Gubatata, of course, he was the former communications director for Governor Felix Camacho. He did a homeland. He's done a lot of stuff. KUAM, very experienced. Sean, welcome back, and hope you had a great vacay.
Oh, it was very nice. Vacation from the vacation is on right now.
Right on. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Beauty, so I know that you were able to catch the speech, or at least most of it, last night. We'll just start with you. Just generally, what were some of the takeaways, some of the things you liked about the speech, maybe some of the things you didn't? Go ahead. Good morning, Beauty.
Good morning. Yeah, so like Mr. Flores said earlier, it was beautifully crafted, quite emotional for me as well. I honestly feel like my trigger word there in the speech is when he continued to say generational. And like for me, I whenever I hear generational, I feel pain and I also feel healing at the same time. So it's a very weird emotional experience for me. And like I said, it's beautifully crafted. The speech is beautifully crafted because we are able to reminisce about what we've all been through and try to as well, kind of imagine what we're going to be going through for the future. And when I actually had to speed up the settings in the speech because I wanted to make sure I caught as much as I could. And even with that, you're still able to garner a lot of the of what you want to say. And I was trying to take notes too on what would be impactful for me. But in general, I wish I knew about it so I could have attended it live or to have had a bit more time to watch the full thing because it was really nice. I'm glad I was able to view it and come on board and talk about it because I'd like to hear everybody else's opinions as well as their ideas that they have based on what he's mentioned.
Right on. Let's go over to Joni. Go ahead.
Yeah, I caught part of it on the way back from Coco's Island. But then I watched it later on after you notified me about it, about looking at it. So I echo Beauty's words that it was well crafted, well written. But when you look at all the things that he covered, and there was a lot covered, then come the questions about how is Guam going to be able to actually do these things sustainably and also realistically. So one of the things that I thought about, he mentioned having a slaughterhouse or an abattoir. And so I'm a vegan now, or, mostly vegan. And so I'm just going in that way, toward that realm of sustainability myself. But I realize that realistically, people do still, meat is still popular. But how are we going to get that land from the military when the military is really, pushing its game on China? It's loath to give up more land. In fact, they took back, or at least in my eyes, they started fencing things years ago where people used to, like Andy South, where people used to run and exercise. I think the governor was trying to get some land back for the hospital, but the options given were not really suitable. So I'm just wondering, given the let's say the dearth of land available and the type of land you would need to have grazing done, first of all, which is very resource. It's a heavy resource kind of industry.
Yeah, Joni,
it uses lots of water, lots of land.
Right.
Yeah.
That whole part
anyway,
of the speech.
I'm just wondering. Yeah.
It's just like, grazing, slaughterhouse. Where'd this come from?
Yeah, that's a lot of ask for $600 million, to go in that direction. The other thing a plus side was that he did talk about transportation, public transportation. Yeah. And I think that's more in line of where we want to go because, we have far too many cars on the road, far too many, and also we have that part of the population that would really benefit from having buses picking them up on time, getting to school, getting to work on time. I would use public transportation if it was dependable and save me time as well, but and fuel. So I think that would be a plus for using that $600 million. The other thing might be maybe using some of it to supplement private homeowners who want to put in solar voltaics on their houses, just like they did in Hawaii. So maybe, he's correct in saying that the government should try to use this wisely, not screw it up.
Yeah.
And but take a look at the possibilities for moving us in the direction of where we don't have to use so much fossil fuel.
Yeah, interesting points, Joni. You're right. When he talked about the fleet, I mean, this is already underway with the federal funds. We had Selva Bauta on here, and it really looks like we're going to see these massive upgrades to public transportation. I'm all in on it. I agree, Joni. I think that we're so far behind with public transit. That was great, but it was kind of at odds with the whole slaughterhouse. You're right. I mean, I was just like, that was kind of a weird one. But anyway, Sean, let's get to you. Your thoughts initially on the speech?
Yeah, Chris, good morning, everyone. Just a couple of things for me as a guy who's been around the block in terms of writing those kinds of speeches. I think, and I kept an open mind going into listening to it yesterday, but I think his speech was over after the 12th minute. I mean, he spent the first 12 minutes talking about his work, and then the balance of 40 minutes was a combination of the Democratic talking points and then kind of chastising the executive branch of the government of Guam for their work. If you look at all of the stuff that he was talking about transportation, about all these other parts of the executive that he was going through the final half hour, it was like taking the grant writers' work from GURA, from Guam Housing, from the Mass Transit Authority, from the Department of Ag, and then shoved all the narratives into his speech to take absolute credit for the work that is not being done by him, but in fact, by the rest of the Congress. Now, remember, him being on the Financial Services Committee, the first 12 minutes made some sense. But right now, the Financial Services Committee is more worried about trying to ensure there's artificial intelligence in banking. They're trying to get some diversity across the panel on their committee, and also a digital assets working group. That's where his committee is at. And then his talk about the National Defense Authorization Act, which, by the way, he is not a member of the Armed Services Committee, to say, okay, I want to see assets for air. I want to see if we can get more missile defense. He comes at it from such a different perspective because he's not active in that daily as our previous delegates had been. So again, I kept a fairly open mind, but I really, his final half hour in kind of criticizing the executive branch, as Phil said earlier, yeah, you might as well ditch what you're doing now and start running for governor, because at this point, that's where that speech was headed for the course of 52 minutes yesterday.
Right. And let's go back to you, Phil. I wanted to kind of touch on a theme that you guys all really touched on, was the chastisement, if you will, of the executive branch, right? And, I'm kind of torn on this because, I mean, don't we want our congressman, whoever it is, to pay attention to what is going on locally? I mean, it would be almost bizarre if they weren't in touch with local issues. And he has a gift of, and he's also very lucky because he's kind of above everything that's happening locally. And I don't mean that in he's above us or whatever, but I just mean he can look at the whole field and he can kind of pick and choose and make these comments. And I mean, it's easy to do because, our governor doesn't really come out here and defend her actions very often. So he had a quote in here. He warned, there will not be another $600 million in the future. There's no more EITC or Medicaid gap to fill. We will not see a similar confluence of circumstances that will bring our credit ratings up and increase our debt ceiling capacity like we have today, which means the people in this room, to include myself, if we screw this up, we screw it up permanently.
Yeah, in that point, he's talking like a team, but Sean's right. You spend a lot of that time, not so much criticizing, just saying how I can do it better on the local scene. And we have not had a lot of Congress people before, whether it be Martimo Robert or Mandel or even Ben Blas, talk so much about the local scene as he did yesterday, and which said to me again, he's running. He wants to run for governor because that's the case he was making. And go back earlier, he said, "Don't think about the next election," something along the lines. Don't think about the next election. Think about the next generation. For me, that's like the opening of the party for the party shot for the election. I'd be surprised if he doesn't run. And he's got issues in D.C. We don't know where the ethics charges are going. Hopefully they're going nowhere. But if they are going somewhere, he wants to get out of there. And I don't know who picked the fight with whom. Did Lou pick the fight with him, or did he pick the fight with Lou?
I lost track.
They're in, they're like but they're in the 7th round of a 12-round championship fight. Yeah. So we'll see what he goes. But overall, I thought it was a good speech. The slaughterhouse thing got me too, because we've been talking about that for generations.
Yeah, they're doing it in Tinian. Like Tinian is actually using some of their ARP funds to, step up their slaughterhouse game. So maybe he saw that and he was like, oh yeah, CNMI? Huh. That Tinian beef, that's tough.
Yeah, even the slaughterhouse. You remember the J&G used to be, the J&G was raising cattle in Tinian. We used to be able to go to Payless and buy milk from it. Yeah. It's not an easy thing. You go all the way back to the Martinez family 2 generations ago. Ken Martinez, he was raising cattle here on Guam. Couldn't do it because it's very difficult because of our climate and the food. You can't feed them tang and tang, and so I'm not sure what they're going to be grazing on. But that aside, I thought it was a very positive speech. Of course, he was praising all the Democrat Party chair people, which is natural because he's a Democrat. I liked the fact how he weaved in encouragement for the private sector, because we don't see that out of very many politicians. It's all Guam workers. And he saluted the Armed Forces Committee of the Chamber. He talked about the private sector. I just kind of like that, being a member of the private sector.
Yeah.
And because we're the ones who pay most of those taxes. But overall, it was a good speech. I get,
Yeah, and I think it's...
And I voted for Will, and during the runoff, I voted for my friend. I didn't vote for him. But I got to tell you...
Hey, don't try and qualify. I mean, your praise of Michael St. Nicholas. I know a lot of people are watching this like, Phil Flores, what did he smoke this morning? Sounds like he's all in with MSN.
Yeah. I'm on my 58th cup of coffee, so I'm okay.
Well, that was almost a Juan Carlos moment of hugging. So
I know,
at least we can go with there. But I just want to say one thing about the whole slaughterhouse thing that was a second term initiative of former Governor Gutierrez in his second term. So how funny 21 years later that this became part of a policy speech. And I think that's one thing we got to remember. It was a policy speech relative to his effort. And I think sometimes we kind of forget that as myself and the other 62 people that were watching on YouTube yesterday were trying to get across that again, it's about what his effort in Washington, D.C. would result for the people of Guam yesterday in that case.
I want to take this next one to Beauty, because a lot of people talk about the next election, right? And I mean, I've seen on social media pictures of St. Nicholas and Moylan, and when you kind of look at the lay of the land and you hear some of the names that are being thrown out, none of them really carry that weight that a Michael St. Nicholas name carries. And you guys know I'm like his biggest critic, but I tell people, like, if there's anybody who can beat Lou, it's Mike. And I think he could do it. And I think it's generational, Beauty, like you had said. I really don't get it, because I really feel like when you look beyond the surface messaging, there are just so many questions with the ethics charge and stuff. But I do understand that the guy is this generation's, Ricky Berdalio. He's this generation's Carl Gutierrez. He's that guy 100%. That being said, Beauty, when you talk about, when Phil talks about an Antelope run, there was some, and there has been, he's always kind of postured and been critical of the local government. Sometimes even adversarial almost in what he says and what he's willing to do with the federal government over the local government. So, I guess that being said, Beauty, do you think he's going to run for governor? And if so, what do you think of it? Would you support him and all that?
I actually do. I feel that, just like as Sean has said, as a grant writer myself, it does sound very grant written. There's just a lot of plug and play into it. But I do feel like he'll be a strong contender if he does decide to do so. But I also feel that he is intentionally crafting his appearances to do so. And like I've mentioned before during the seasons, I personally do not follow any, I try not to follow any of the ads or any of the, marketing until a day or two before election time. And then that's when I follow my intuition on, marking my votes, because anything can really happen. And I don't want, and I'm not the type of person to be like, oh yeah, I'm voting for all of these people until the day of. I'm the type of person who says, no, this is who I voted for afterwards. So there's so many things that can happen within the election season that can really just tip the scales, honestly. So that's my view on it.
Joni?
Yeah, I hope my dog doesn't bark, but
We like dogs.
So
Go for it.
I think that he probably is shooting his missiles over the bow toward the next election. I think he wants a spot to land if things go south with the charges in Washington or the investigation in Washington. But one thing I wanted to point out, though, and I'm not sure if this would have been a proper place to bring it up, but he didn't speak anything about political status. He was quite silent on that. And I don't know, Sean, do you think that this is something that he could have mentioned? He might have said, well, this is what I feel is in the works for our future. Besides,
I agree that. I mean, if you think about the Supreme Court that just has been ruling on these different issues, he didn't take a moment to actually spend one of the most important parts of what we've seen policy-wise in the last 6 months relative to that issue. I was a little concerned that he didn't do that. I mean, the videos kind of messed me up too, but you're right. In terms of the actual idea of, this whole idea of our self-determination and the like, it's an opportunity lost for him. I agree with you, Jody.
It's unfortunate. Right. It's an opportunity lost for the whole island when our delegate, he's come out and pretty much said that he doesn't support self-determination, which is huge because that's our voice in the nation's capital, right? And it's frustrating. Beauty, I know you got to go.
That's really,
sorry, Joni.
Yeah,
we're just
I think that's really important. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Beauty, I know you got to go, and I wasn't sure if you could actually ninja out of a Zoom, so.
Look, very slowly. Thank you very much, everyone, for having me. And I'm absolutely open to whoever might want to connect to discuss anything further. And wherever you may need my support, I'm here.
Thank you, Beauty.
Thank you.
All right.
Enjoy your day.
Okay. Back to you, Johnny. So self-determination. Was there anything else that you found AWOL in the speech?
Well, mainly it was a self-determination issue because as part of the Finogi Coalition, we gave him many chances to speak about it and voice his view, his stance, and he never did. He pretty much ignored the Finogi Coalition during the forums when other candidates did not and took advantage of it. So I think it's kind of characteristic of him not to say something about it. And I really feel that's important, that people should really take note of that, because it's, how can you take all this federal money, say it's for the good of the future of the people, but then ignore the actual, the true future, which is political status. Where are we headed? Where are we going to go? Like Sean said, he really lost that one. He missed it.
Phil, closing thoughts before we let you go?
Yeah, I could go on a whole show about political status because I'm not for independence. I think that's ridiculous.
Right, but Phil, I think that's the issue. Is a lot of people just equate political status and self-determination with independence when there's two other options out there. Like St. Nicholas could totally hitch his wagon to the statehood.
I'm sorry. There are three other options out there, and I wasn't doing it to beat up independence. I was doing it. I agree. It would have been good for him to address it yesterday, He has taken some stances on it. But this yesterday was his limelight, even if Sean says there's only 21 people looking at it or whatever it was. In fact, I asked Chris.
61.
Chris said, Chris asked me yesterday, 9:30 or 7. I said 7. Then I came back later and said, 9:30. He goes, no, we got to do 7. I said, oh, man, now I got to watch it. So I watched it yesterday afternoon. And, I'm not quite sure where Mike's going. But it is generational. I mean, he wiped the floor with Madeline, which really surprised me, and also with not so much Will, but with Primo Robert, and he's a rising star. Is he going to run for governor in 2 years? I don't know. If I was I'm making more money living in D.C. Of course, I got to rent an apartment, all that. But I don't have to go to the Daily Bugaboo looking what they say about me on KUM or the Daily News or the Daily Post. But he's ambitious. And, I mean, if you're going to take on Madeline, who's not a politician, she was a brand, and then actually beat her and then take on Robert and beat him twice in the same cycle, and he's ambitious. And I'm not saying he's Superman, but he's certainly Superboy at this point. And who knows where he's going to go. And you got to kind of like his style. You know, he's independent. He will not say, I'm going to do whatever the Democrats tell me to do. But then he's doing nothing but praising Democrat chairs yesterday. I don't know. I think he's got a future. And again, I don't know if it's in 2 years or if it's in 6 years. But he wants to run for governor. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Well, let me ask, do you think that the ambition to run for governor is genuine, or is it just that that's probably the only way he could get out of this ethics situation? Is by resigning
that's an interesting question. I mean, I don't know. If there's an investigation going on, he knows about it because people are asking questions, and he's going to hear about people asking questions. But I can't say how real it is. I saw yesterday when he recognized his wife, he recognized his children, he was still reading off the script. He should be able to do that without a script. But he wanted to get that in there. For whatever reason, he thought that was important, probably because it is important. I don't know where the investigation is going. I don't know if one leaves Congress, if the investigation then dies.
Yeah, it dies.
It does stop. Okay. But someone said, I think we'll know by the end of the year what he's doing. We got 2 more days left in June, halfway through the year. My gosh, I think we'll know pretty soon. But if you ask me, he wants to run for governor, and it's been said before that he's wanted to run for governor even when he was a senator.
Joni, your thoughts on that?
On him running for governor?
Does that excite you? Or give you a big headache?
No, not really. I mean, okay, so maybe back to the speech a little. He's got really good speech writers. And so he's got that going for him. He has a great political machine working for him. And I think running on those things, it's probably, like Beauty said, he's going to give other candidates a run for their money. But I just feel like, I mean, there is a population on Guam. It might be small or whatever, but we do watch him carefully when it comes to his position on political status, and also, one more thing I needed to mention: education, because he didn't really touch on that except for getting students to school on time with public transportation. But I think that really if he could have stressed that a bit more and maybe talked about how we could use that money for college for people, for training, so that they can, pull themselves up out of, the poverty level.
It's interesting, Joni, that you say those things when, because I pay attention, like he does mention those opportunities, but he only mentions them on his Facebook. And since he doesn't engage with the so-called traditional mainstream media, we don't know how to get that message out. You know what I mean? Because I check his Facebook, and he has mentioned these different programs with this federal funding, but again, it's not reaching maybe the masses that it could.
One thing on Joni's thing, Chris, is going back to education real fast. I'm sorry. But when you think about he announced that, okay, I got $500 million for education, but he only got $100 million for health. Now, remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic. So when you are talking about how we're trying to stop it from coming into our shores, but you clearly, if the kids aren't healthy, they're not going to school. So again, when we think about policy, when we think about, putting together that speech, looking at it in totality, we're all going to chip away at different parts of it. But when we talk about education specifically, great. But in the middle of a pandemic, you just told all the healthcare people, you're important, but not as important. Maybe that's why financial services was greatly served by other parts of it, because he was not part of the discussion. And he didn't give kudos to Khalili, Chris. I was hoping he was going to get some kudos to Khalili for his help.
Right.
Yeah, Khalili is definitely moving a lot of weight. Guys, I got to run. This sounds like we could go on all day about it, but I think at the end of the day, for the average person, they're fine with the congressman, because we're just drowning in all this federal money, and maybe because they're not too clued in on what the actual process is in getting that money, they believe that the congressman, it also doesn't hurt that he's taking credit for everything, but they think that he got the money when largely it's by default that we get a certain amount of money because we're under the U.S., guys. So, and that's what I found interesting, guys, before we let you go. I found it interesting that they played this guard promotion video totally randomly, when what I would have liked to have seen is, if you were knocking on doors and securing all this funding, show us that, show us on the floor, show us making amendments, show us, you fighting for Guam, give us the proof in the pudding, trust.
Show us you voting.
Verify.
How was that?
Yeah. Oh, voting. Yeah, that's a sore spot. All right. On that,
that'd be a pretty novel idea in a video. Yeah. Novel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they vote. That's what they do. I got you. Okay. 7:37, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Joni, always a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Sean. Okay. See you guys. Real quick break. We're coming back to Ray Taposnia of Gura next, right here on the link. Good morning.
This July, Independent Guahan and Tondunga Marianas presents Nat Lotlat, Songs of Freedom Volume 5. This event is a chance for the community to connect to conscious and empowering social change and decolonization through music, poetry, art, and dance. Nat Lotlat, Songs of Freedom airs Sunday, July 4th, 7 to 9 p.m. on KUAM TV8. Nat Lotlat means to give life, and in that spirit, join Independent Guahan on July 4th as we create an evening of art and creativity aimed at giving life to our community and our dreams for a more just and equitable future. Viva Guahan!
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable, as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city, featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
In the bar at her, you rolled up sleeves and your school t-shirt. You say, what did you do with him today? And sniff me out like I was decorated. 'Cause you're my fella, my guy. Hand me your Stella and fly. By the time I'm out the door, it's tear me down like Roger Moore. I cheated myself like I knew I would. I told you I was trouble. Yeah, you know that I'm no good. Upstairs in bed with my ex-boy.
Avade, and welcome back to the link. Okay, Chris, I had a real big question. I didn't want to.
Oh yeah.
I want to, and now I don't want to seem like a goof, right? That's kind of like been my thing.
Now,
last year.
okay.
Okay, didn't Guam have a slaughterhouse before? And I want to say it was in Malolo.
Ray, do you know?
I don't know. I think we did.
when you go around the island, especially if you come from the south and heading up, like on the left side, there's this like abandoned facility and it's all rusted out and everything like that. And it's but you can see it from the street on the left side. And I believe like when my aunties were telling me that used to be a slaughterhouse.
Probably.
I'm even surprised the word slaughterhouse is still politically correct these days.
Like what else would you call it? A place of life ending for animals we consume. You got to find a nice fluffy way to talk
nourishment
about
process. I don't know. You got to ask, the kids.
Where
these
the
days.
animals go bye-bye.
Yeah.
Right on. 7:40. Yeah, Ray. So I guess I know you're a very opinionated gentleman. You were able to catch a little bit of the congressman's speech. What were a couple of the takeaways for you before we get into official Gura business?
No, I didn't catch his speech. I'm just saying most of the funding we receive annually, we get it on our own. It's in many cases entitlements. So yeah, I mean, he takes credit for all the money we're getting that are COVID related, but we're working very closely with our federal partners to get that money. So
interesting.
It is what it is.
It is, and I feel like credit to him, right? To take credit, because that's what politicians do. It's nothing new. But I think his idea is like, if it came from the federal government, you're welcome.
Yeah, and he needs to give credit to my team. It's not even me, myself, but it's my team that's been pushing to get this federal dollars. So, kudos to them.
Jay,
not to me and not to
Bobby,
not to the congressman.
Messaged me in, and she said, my friend Bobby, ran a slaughterhouse in Agate back in the 1920s.
In the 20s?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I don't know.
But that was in Agate. But yeah, I always thought it was around like
maybe there was another one.
Like near Malolo and Alahan, or like there was one over there. I thought.
If my southern friends would figure out WhatsApp, we'll know. But let's go ahead and get into it, Jay. I know you had a question for Ray.
No, that was it about the slaughterhouse.
Oh, that was
that
it.
Was the one.
Okay, that was your one question. Oh, great. Okay, now we're in trouble. No, Ray. So I know that you guys are, of course, abattoir. Joni commented, and that's the nice word for slaughterhouse.
Ah, okay.
Okay, there you go. Fancy French. That's French, right?
Yeah. Good luck spelling that though.
Right. Ray, let's just run through all the projects you guys are working on. You sent a bunch of stuff. Can we start with the Sinania Fire Station? What's the status on that one?
Okay, that's a $1.6 million project. We are currently evaluating proposals. I think we received about 5. These proposals are for the architectural and engineering design. So we hope to complete that process possibly within the next 2 weeks. We've involved the fire department in evaluating the proposals. So once they're done with their part, then we'll be able to award the contract. So I'm anticipating the design will take maybe 6 to 8 months, and then we can issue an invitation for a bid for construction.
Okay. Next, the iLearn. You guys broke ground on this iLearn charter school, right?
Yes, we did. About a week and a half ago. It's a $32 million project. Our contribution to the iLearn Academy is $12 million. And we hope the contractor can finish by next school year, which is August 2022. And we're hoping the construction can be completed by no later than July. So they've got a huge task ahead of them.
Well, there are some other projects for my Umaticans, the Umatic baseball field. Where's this going to be?
Yeah, the Umatic baseball field, unfortunately, it's like nearly complete, but the contractor is challenged to because he's lost a lot of his skilled labor. So we're about 79% complete. Unfortunately, I haven't seen a lot of activity in the last couple of weeks, but we're on them. That's about a little bit over $1 million project.
Where's this at?
Umatic.
Yeah, I know Umatic.
Down south.
Is it by the bridge?
It's going down the hill towards Umatic in that general vicinity.
Coming from Agate or Melissa?
Coming from Agate.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're going down the hill towards the village.
What about this Gumatrank solar project? Is this a conception or drawing or?
Yeah, that's a conceptual plan, but basically, we've stepped out of our comfort zone, and we want to pursue renewable energy technology, particularly as a pilot phase over at Gumet Tranquilidad. So it's a solar project that we're very excited about. We're currently evaluating proposals, and we hope to award a contract possibly within the next week. It involves about 53 structures where we hope to have not just solar power, but battery backup. So even if they lose power, because the power is not very stable these days, the Manamco there will never lose power because of the battery backup. And that's very critical for our Manamco population, our elderly population, because if they require oxygen, they actually will never lose power. So that's kind of something we're very, very pleased with.
Inaran basketball court, Ray, Mongwong Totu Mighty basketball courts?
Okay, the Inaran basketball court, that's a $370,000 project. We just recently got the building permit. It took, 13 months to get a building permit. And I'm glad the
You didn't talk to the permitting czar?
Well, nonetheless, we got the building permit, and we hope to break ground within 2 weeks. There's some challenges that we encountered, but we're just trying to schedule my bosses, the governor, lieutenant governor, to attend the groundbreaking ceremony. And then the Mongmong Totumaiti basketball court, we're also doing a second basketball court. That's a $470,000 project. And we're currently working on the request for proposal for A&E design. So that's moving forward.
Let's talk about this homeless voucher thing. And I know we got the release. It was about a week ago. Ray, are there any vouchers still available? How do people get them? And what can they do with these vouchers?
Well, we received 87 emergency housing vouchers from HUD. And this is primarily to target our homeless population. We actually cannot start issuing vouchers till July 1st. So we have a couple more days. But we've entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Guam Homeless Coalition to help us with making the referrals to GURA. And, there's certain criteria by definition of what a homeless person is or a homeless family are. And that's indicated in our press release. But basically, the referrals will come from the Guam Homeless Coalition, then GURA will do what it needs to do to issue a voucher. So hopefully we can target some of the folks over at the Global Dorm and try and put them in in a more permanent setting, more permanent housing, and as well those that are out there in the streets. So yeah, we're excited about that, and we're very, very blessed to have an additional 87 vouchers on top of the 2,581 vouchers that we already receive annually.
So July 1st, how do people get them?
Well, again, the referrals, the casework is being done by the Homeless Coalition, and they have a number of case workers and social workers that have been doing their jobs even prior to us getting these 87 vouchers. So once we receive the vouchers, then we've received the vouchers, but we'll be able to issue it starting July 1st. So we're just days away from trying to put a roof over some of these folks' heads. And as well, Chris, we have a second homeless shelter that we're working on to add to the Global Dorm, and we're looking at about 40 additional units. There was a delay because of the requirement for flood insurance by the feds. The lieutenant governor was able to address that, so now we're just going through the motions of meeting all the federal requirements, the public notices, the environmental documentation, and once we're done with that, we hope to have a second shelter on board.
Can we talk a little bit about the Women's Recovery Center?
Yeah, the Women's Treatment Center in Tizan. We broke ground back in May, about a month ago, and the contractor has begun to mobilize. It's a $2.35 million project. It's the first women's treatment center. Keep in mind, Chris, when more often than not, women will opt not to get treatment if they have an addiction problem, primarily because if there's kids involved, then it's a very tough decision for them. So what we've done is created an environment where they'll be able to have visitation, or their kids will be able to visit them on a regular basis. And we hope that would curb some of the decisions made by the court to allow women with a drug or alcohol problem to undergo treatment at this women's treatment center and be able to keep their families intact. So we hope to complete the project within a year.
Right on, Ray. What about I remember there was a couple years ago I'd done an interview with you about apartment style Agora housing, and there was discussion of maybe liquidating some of the assets. Has that kind of been put on ice because of the pandemic, or is that something that you still discuss?
That's something that HUD would like me to pursue. It's really something that's happening nationwide with housing authorities. There's a lot of challenges in doing that, but basically, many of our structures, even though when you look at them, they're in excellent condition because we've maintained them over the years, but many of them are 40 years old, in some cases over 50 years old. So we need to be proactive. If we need to liquidate those and acquire or build new units as replacements, then that's the route we want to go. Some of the challenges we face is we may end up selling it below fair market value, and that of course is a concern for a lot of the realtors, because it would certainly have an impact to the real estate market. But you know what? When the average price of a home is about $375,000, then why not? Most people can't afford that. And if Agora can take the lead in selling homes below that price range, so that more families can actually buy a home, then that's the route I want to go. But we've had some challenges because of the opposition. But Chris, we're also building the Central Arts Hall in Sinajana.
Yeah,
That's
I saw that.
$892,000 project. We anticipate will be done by November of this year, and we'll cut the ribbon to that project. Some of the delays, particularly with many of our projects, is, we actually had a concrete shortage on this island.
Wow.
So we're looking at a maybe 5-6 week delay to the Central Arts Hall, because we had to we weren't able to pour the roof. We've already poured the walls, we've poured the foundation, and once we pour the roof, then we anticipate we'll be moving very, very expeditiously. But we have to schedule the roof pouring, and I think it's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. But if we wanted to do it today, we couldn't do it today.
Wow. Ray, thank you for your time this morning. I know you got a busy day ahead of you, so thanks for popping in. Anything in closing, my friend?
Yeah, we're also going to be building the Eastern Police Substation down in Talafofo, and that's we dedicated $200,000 for the design. So we'll be issuing that RFP sometime soon. And then
we're at in Talafofo.
We're looking at 2 or 3 options. It's not final, so I don't want to let the cat out of the bag until I've discussed this with the Lieutenant Governor. But it will be probably in Talafofo, primarily because the southern precinct, which is in Agat, it takes a long time for any kind of emergency response. So we need to build something on the southeastern side of the island. So that's kind of our strategy. We also have about $3.6 million that we're going to set aside, that we've budgeted for, to acquire dilapidated structures and basically flip them. We'll renovate them. My engineering team will go out there and assess them. We'll renovate them, and then we'll turn around and lease them to low-income families. So we're excited about that as well. So a lot of things going on. Aside from that, aside from the HUD-funded projects, we've been talking to public health about the construction of the CDC lab. That's about a $32 million project.
Right.
The swimming pool, we've been working with Parks and Recs to build a new swimming pool.
Where would that
and
be?
And then I'm sorry?
Where would that new swimming pool be, or is it still early?
Well, we proposed to build it in Dedido, but there's some opposition about building in Dedido, and we wanted to build it in Dedido because the infrastructure is already there. We built the last pool in Dedido, and the infrastructure was actually designed to accommodate a larger pool. So we believe we'll be able to build one real quickly if we're given the green light to do it there, but it's not our property. It's actually under the oversight of Parks and Recs. If that's the decision, if that's the desire of the administration, then we're ready to go with the A&E design for the new pool. And we're also talking to land management and other land agencies about building the land and housing building down in Agana next to the Hulali Shopping Center, and that's about a $19 million project. So we had a meeting yesterday. And then we also entered into a memorandum of agreement with the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center, and you've seen this in the news, to build the New Beginnings building. That's about a $8.7 million project right in front of their current facility in Tamunin. And then to renovate the former Talafofo Cottage homes under DYA and turn that into a drug alcohol rehab facility. So this is kind of what we're doing, just a lot of stuff aside from, providing a home to 4,800 plus families.
Yeah. What's the waiting list? Is there a waiting list for housing?
Absolutely. There's a huge waiting list. I think we have about 4,000 some families and individuals on that wait list. So we'll never get caught up, but, we try our best.
Well, that's all we can ask of anyone, Ray. So thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Chris.
See you. Ray Tapasnia, Agora. Yeah, definitely sounds like they're focusing on the urban renewal part. So it's Guam Housing Urban Renewal with the what did we say yesterday, sir? The plethora of projects. Yeah, plethora of projects. It's 7:56. We're going to take a quick break, and we're coming back on KUAM TV. Oh, yes, we are. We've got a bunch of great things for you guys this morning. Sabrina is coming out with a new podcast in the KUAM Podcast Network, Crimes Without Convictions. Guys, if you are a true crime podcast fan, you're not going to want to miss this. It's a great, great episode, and what is sure to be going to be a great podcast series with Sabrina Salas Matanani. I mean, that's top tier right there, right? And so the first episode, Sabrina sits down with Chief of Police Steve Ignacio and former prosecutor of the AG's office, Attorney Tom Fisher, talks about the murder of, then she was 4, Deanna Oli. This was a crazy case back in the history of Guam, and you can look forward to more of these cases from our past being re-examined by Sabrina Salas Matanani. I mean, guys, there's the Michelle Limtiaco case, right? There's Jennifer Mesa. There's just a ton of cases on Guam that, from way back in the day that I we feel should be dusted off and re-looked at. Because you watch a lot of these true crime documentaries, a lot of times they'll reopen these cases based on advancements in technology. And we had a whole conversation with the chief last week about DNA testing capability being stood up in the Guam Police Department within a year, right? So they're working on a new crime lab. So it's a very real possibility that some of these so-called cold cases may be reopened. I mean, the chief talked about, and this is something that he doesn't have the luxury of doing because of a shortage in officers, but he talked about reestablishing a cold case task force, bringing in some of the old detectives who used to work on these cases and having them rub elbows with some of the young guns in the department to maybe bust some of these cases open through good old-fashioned police work and or advancements in technology that now make it easier to catch the bad guys. So it's I'm excited about that. Our whole KUM podcast network, guys, it's awesome. We dropped the Hoffadezo podcast yesterday. It was great with Glenn and Josh, and there's more of those and more podcasts coming up here on the stations of KUM. It's 7:59. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on KUM TV. Fix yourself. We've got a whole lot of fixing to do. That's next, right here on the link. Good morning.
We got your 6.
At 6 a.m. with the link on Breeze 93.9 FM. Bree and I connect you with all the latest news and information
What are the
you need to know to start your day.
Then check back with Guam's news leader at 6 p.m. for the day's top headlines with KUAM News Primetime.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and everything else in between with KUAM Digital, we got your 6. Welcome to the link. Good morning, KUAM TV. You guys are looking good this morning. Keep it up. Whatever you're doing, keep on doing it.
You got that Tuesday glow.
Yeah, you're glowing on a Tuesday. It's
and seeing as the weather outside, yeah, everybody should be glowing.
beautiful day, right?
If
Is it
not
a
because
beautiful
they're
day? Is it hot, sir? It looks hot, right?
Yeah, if not because you're just happy at the wonderful weather, then you got that like light layer of sweat. So.
Oh God, it was so muggy yesterday.
And you were actually out for a
Oh,
while
I got
yesterday
a
afternoon,
text. Sorry, Jay, because we're talking about the slaughterhouse on Guam. We got a text from Bobby
yes.
who said her grandfather ran a slaughterhouse in Agate in the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend Juliet from Gef Pagu says, in Ilahan, Chris, there was a slaughterhouse by the bay across from the church.
Oh, I did not know that either.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was one. So in Agate in the 20s, down. So that would be across from the church. That would be like right around the corner where like Gefpago is, like right as you head into. Right?
I think she means on the other side of the church, across the street. There's some houses there.
Yeah.
Maybe? Huh? I don't know. You had to be there, Jay. I wasn't there. I know I'm
Like
old,
right
but
on the- yeah, but am I just crazy, everybody? Because
Yeah, you are.
No, I swear, my aunties were telling me like that one like now decrepit facility
in Malolo?
In Malolo.
Is it like on the right side when you start to come down all the curves?
Yeah.
Yeah, that Chinese dragon fruit farm?
No, I don't.
Now it is a Chinese dragon fruit
Is
farm.
that what it is now? Because like
I think they might have raised chickens there or something.
Yeah, but I think
I'm
that
going to find out for you, Jay. I'm going to find out for you.
Okay.
Okay. So, Juliet, all my Inalahan people, if you guys are listening, please text me or whatever. Let me know that on the right-hand side, as you pass Malolo 76, you hit the straight, right by the Inaran Falls hiking parking. On the right side, it's like this facility, and now they grow dragon fruit. I think it might have been chickens though.
And
We'll find out.
It's all like the structure of something that used to be there, but it's all rusted out and
Yeah.
everything like that. It's kind of an eyesore, but you can tell it was like something.
Right. Yeah. When's the
But
last time you've been down that far?
Honestly, the last time I went down south was I had to go to a funeral for my friend's mom, and that was on Cross Island Road because I was at Our Lady of Peace.
Okay.
Our Lady of Peace. Or?
That's not really the south, but
I know.
it's South Central.
That's as further south as I. And then of
When
course,
was that though?
3 months ago.
Oh, okay. Pretty recent, right? So when's the last time you really went south?
I really went south. Like it's been at least a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you got to get out
do
more.
miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out. You all right, man?
Yeah.
Just get out and see the sights,
Well,
bro.
I'm uploading these like ice cream, these ice cream videos that you just gave me like 10 minutes ago.
Sorry, Hey, ice cream. You got to let it set. We're going to play this video here that
Speaking of videos,
I got at the Guam Police. It used to be the Hagåtña precinct.
Yeah, and even though yesterday afternoon it was really chaotic, a lot of stuff came in. I would have full confidence in saying these were the sounds and images that really caught everybody's attention.
And so this is the perp walk for Nicholas Moore, shot yesterday afternoon around 5 p.m.
I can go up, right?
Nicholas, did you murder Michael Castro? Did you murder Michael Castro? Can you tell us where his body is? Did you murder Michael Castro, Nicholas? Can you tell us where his body is? Did you act alone, Nicholas?
Okay, just for your safety, we're gonna put on the. So go ahead and lift your right leg first. Good. Ready?
How was your flight? No comment? Did you murder Michael Castro, Nicholas?
Take your time, take your time. Go on this side. You go on the other side? Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, I took some heat on the social media, which there were some comments on the Instagram. Where's this one here that I saw? Well, there's this one here from my buddy Quinn. Y'all are so messy. You already know he's not going to answer any questions because what he says can be used against him. Anything for clout, huh?
Well, technically, we don't know, and
Yeah.
there have been. I mean,
Yeah.
he does have a point, and most lawyers advise their clients not to say anything.
But you never know, and
to
you don't
anybody.
know
Yeah.
unless you ask.
And historically, there have been a couple times when people have actually said something.
And actually, I'm too old for clout. I don't play clout. I just do my job, and that's my job was to go there and shoot video and ask questions and see if the guy would answer. Thank you, though. The Cuxica has my back. Says, relax. Chris is the OG here. He's allowed to talk. He's been doing it longer than you've been alive.
Which
That's
further supports your statement
nicest
that
way to
you are
say
way
the
too
dude-
old
the
for
dude's
clout.
old. Yeah, no. Yeah, not clout. Are you serious? That's kid stuff, guys. Don't play kid stuff. It's 8:08. Let's go ahead and get into the news. Yeah, but there was Facebook Live. It's on Facebook Live. There was a ton of comments on there. And thank you, guys. It's pretty basic. You know what I mean? We do perp walks all the time. Media can ask questions. I mean, what's wrong with you guys? You don't want the media asking questions? You only want us asking questions when it's about the Rise Act or what? I mean, we're gonna ask the questions. And if you don't like it, sue me. I mean, please don't, but it's our job, guys. We ask how basic is that?
Joe Sir just
Media
said, yeah, sue him. Joe Sir was like, you're on your own.
You're
on
on
this
your
one."
own. No, but yeah, I mean, really, and that's the beauty of it, though, is you guys are entitled to your opinion, right? We just post it up, and whatever you want to comment, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, yeah, well, you and comment. I don't got time for that, bro. But it's out there. It is what it is. And you know what? I hope you guys like the content, all right? Because at the end of the day, we are a news gathering organization, and we're just gathering the news. I mean, it would have kind of been stupid to not ask a question, guys, because you never know. You know what? You guys would be singing a different tune if you actually answered, right?
And you know what? The case that you're talking about, because this does involve loss of life, is very, very sensitive, obviously. Very, very heinous.
Yeah.
In a similar vein, Sabrina's got a new podcast that drops tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is in the history of Guam, this is like one of the most. We're gonna put it in there shortly, so we'll play that like a little bit later this morning. But the murder of Deanna Ali, 4-year-old girl. I mean, you mentioned that name, and it evokes emotions from some people, including 2 of the people who she interviewed for the podcast.
Correct.
The now chief of police.
And maybe it doesn't evoke any emotion for you because you were too young, right? But you can Google it. There's not a lot of information about the case, though, on Google because a lot of these cases took place, wait for it, pre-Google. Yeah, there's a whole world before Google, guys. So we're going to play this clip of that podcast coming up. In the meantime, Jay, they can check out the Hafadeza podcast, right?
That's right. Yeah. So it's on. If you want to watch the video version, it's on YouTube and it's on Facebook. And so Glenn has been showered with praise, but Glenn, he's like the most humble guy and everything. He's saying thank you, and he's interacting with each and every person that put a comment in there, said good job and everything. They got good stuff coming up from there. If you want to subscribe, so you have a persistent, permanent connection on whatever device you have, iPad, mobile device. If you're using, we're on all the podcast platforms. So we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon Music and Audible, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Player FM.
Dang, we're like everywhere.
Yeah, however you get your. I was in all weekend making sure that everything.
Thank you,
worked.
Jay. Thank you, Jason.
Well, I got the easy part. They put the shows together. I just put them out.
Yeah. And then we're also carrying some existing podcasts like Sean Gumatau's That's It, That's All podcast. We had Sean on for the after party earlier on the show. He's definitely got interesting take on a lot of current events. Maybe a take that you don't hear too much of in the idea marketplace, if you will. So we're glad to be carrying Sean's podcast.
And that dude has seen a lot.
Yeah.
Both as a journalist and then as someone who was,
who crossed the line and went to work for the government, right? So he's seen it from both sides.
And so he was actually putting the speeches together. He was part of, the discussions when they came up with, political tactics and strategy, and then also, I don't want to say diffusing a lot of bombs, but like making very tense situations a lot less tense, and coming up with like trying to work around the media, and that's part of the game.
Yeah, it is. It's 8:12. We're brought to you by Pacific Points, Cabo Enterprises, ITNE, and Jack in the Box.
And now, actually, that I think about it, Sean is actually teaching communications up at UOG, so he's using that experience from both sides of the mic.
Right.
To teach young people how to do it.
Here's what's coming up on the show, guys. 8:30, Chima and Bakwem. We're going to talk about the 16 positives, 140th COVID-related fatality. What does it mean as we sift through the numbers? 9 o'clock, we're getting environmental health, public health. They continue to go out and do the inspections. There were some eyebrow-raising inspections that they did. We'll ask them about. And then the Guam Youth Congress, they've got a couple bills before them. And then we always like to ask their take on current events that the so-called grown-ups are handling. And so I'm pretty sure we'll ask them about the congressman's speech and whatever else comes up. At 8:12, let's go ahead and do the news now with the very latest from the KUAM news team. Jason Solis, good morning.
All right, good morning and good morning, Guam. And regrettably, our island has suffered another COVID-19 related death as the 140th person to pass away from the coronavirus passed away at U.S. Naval Hospital just after 3 p.m. on Sunday. That patient was a 75-year-old man who was unvaccinated and had underlying health conditions. He was admitted on June 21st. Additionally, as Chris just said, there were 16 new cases confirmed of COVID-19 out of 1,012 tests performed from Friday through Sunday. Again, we've now suffered 140 deaths since last March, with 8,344 total cases confirmed. 82 of your fellow Guamanians are currently in isolation, and 8,122 people have recovered from it. This is the thing, most important, or not the most important thing, but very, very notable. The island's CAR score has gone up to 1.2. Dr. Felix Cabrera, who came up with that metric, said that once it does hit the 1.2 level, that is cause for concern. So we'll try and follow up with him, see what we might have going forward. All right, let's go back to the newsroom now, where Adriana Cotero is standing by, and she has your morning link update.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Half a day, good morning, everyone. I'm Adriana Cotero with your headlines here on The Link. It's been about 2.5 weeks since 23-year-old Nicholas Wayne Moore was arrested in Florida for the murder of 27-year-old Michael Castro, an attempted murder in a separate shooting case. And now Moore is finally on island to answer the charges. Here's more. 23-year-old Nicholas Moore is no longer on federal hold and is now in the custody of the Guam Police Department. On Monday afternoon, GPD Chief Stephen Ignacio confirmed that murder suspect Moore was on island after being extradited back from Florida. District Court of Guam Chief Judge Francis Tarinko Gatewood granted the government's request to dismiss the federal complaint brought down on Moore for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. While his federal case was dismissed without prejudice, he still has to answer to major local charges. He faces murder and attempted murder from two separate shooting cases that occurred in October of last year. The first, a drive-by shooting in Agana Heights where the victim survived, and the second, the deadly shooting of 27-year-old Michael Castro, who was missing for 8 months. Court documents state Castro is believed to have been shot multiple times with a pistol while inside his car. The pistol was confiscated at Moore's residence and matched Castro's DNA. His body is suspected to have been disposed in the ocean by way of Moore's father's boat. Moore's father is Leroy Moore, owner of Unitech Environmental Guam. It was last week on The Link when Chief Ignacio offered more details into the investigations.
We actually sent two of our agents from criminal investigation out to Florida to work with the U.S. Marshals so that once they picked up Nicholas Moore, we could step in and attempt to conduct an interrogation or interview regarding the case. And of course, I'm not sure what the outcome was, so whether or not he provided any statements. But we were there when he was picked up, and then we went around and did investigative work. We talked to whoever he may have been living with, whether it's just a family, a friend, a relative, and see if they had any information as to that they could provide that may be helpful in the investigation that we're conducting.
Moore's attorney Mike Phillips declined to comment, stating that he has not officially spoken with his client at this time. Guam is reaping the benefits of an unprecedented federal windfall, all in the midst of a devastating pandemic. But Delegate Michael San Nicolas, during his annual State of the Congress address Monday, cautioned that the eyes of history will be upon local leaders as to how all this money is spent.
As of June of this year, Guam has received over $2.5 billion in federal pandemic aid. Of this amount, $1.8 billion was paid in the form of 95 different grants, with over $1 billion supporting over 28,000 unemployed workers, mostly in our private sector.
There's more. In addition to the hundreds of millions in direct assistance to individuals, families, and local businesses.
On top of all of this, we have $600 million for our local government to deploy for pandemic recovery. All of these resources have prevented our island at large from suffering catastrophic generational loss, not only in direct support into the pockets of our people and onto the tables of our families, but in the coffers of our government.
In fact, it was enough to turn a multi-year, multi-million-dollar accumulated deficit into an operational surplus, even in the middle of a pandemic. And that's still not all. San Nicolas also hailed the dramatic increase in the Medicaid reimbursement percentage, the increase in child tax credits, and the previously announced 100% reimbursement of earned income tax credits.
This funding is annual and ongoing, not a one-time thing. So we will see permanent improvement in our general fund that will help us fill the gaps between cash and appropriations, which should see tax refunds paid out faster.
And if President Biden's National Infrastructure Initiative pushes through as expected, we could see millions more in highway construction and mass transit funding. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, says San Nicolas, to set up the island for the future.
And with $600 million in federal funds available for deployment and other various federal investments we have outlined here today, we are strongly situated in the months and years ahead for a generational golden age of resources on our island not seen since the early 1990s. What we do with these resources is going to define where we go generations from now. There will not be another $600 million in the future. There is no more EITC or Medicaid gap to fill. We will not see a similar confluence of circumstances that will bring our credit ratings up and increase our debt ceiling capacity like we have today. Which means that the people in this room, to include myself, if we screw this up, we screw it up permanently.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
The Guam Department of Education sent out an urgent formal notice to all private, non-public, and charter schools, warning of a cease and desist for all federally funded summer school activities. According to Federal Programs Administrator Ike Santos, these schools were not abiding by certain requirements. Guam Department of Education Federal Programs Administrator Ike Santos has yet to sign off on any standard service agreements from private, non-public, and charter schools summer programs that are utilizing Education Stabilization Fund Program 2 state education agencies and American Rescue Plan state educational agencies grants.
When I was asking, where are these service agreements? And so in short, I had to give a cease and desist. If you don't give me a service agreement, how am I going to pay your teachers?
In order for any federal funds to be expended, there has to be a form of approval and a relationship between an entity and GDOE federal programs, which serves as the grants office. According to Santos, this ensures the federal funds are safeguarded and protected.
And so the concern that I had was that they are continuing. You had the charter schools and certain private non-public schools that are receiving these federal funds that are wanting to pay their teachers, but I have yet to receive any standard service agreement.
Santos met via Zoom Monday morning with all the participants.
And we specifically asked, we don't want you to stop, but what we do want you to do is to abide by these requirements, because we need to ensure that teaching and learning occurs, but at the same time safeguarding these federal dollars.
He says since that meeting with the respective schools, all have been cooperative and are prioritizing to get the necessary documentation in.
I just need justification to support the documents that we're going to expend to ensure that as we expend the funds, we dot our I's and cross our T's.
Santos explains why he believes the issue occurred in the first place.
I'll be honest with you, people were excited because it's the first time using these CARES Act and an American Rescue Plan without realizing that there's documentations. And in the past, the Catholic schools used their own, and they didn't ask for federal funds. They would just charge tuition. And now they're not charging tuition because the teachers are being compensated using these CARES Act funds and the American Rescue funds. But as they use these funds, there has to be some form of internal controls and ensuring that what these teachers said they're doing, they're actually doing. That teaching and learning is occurring. And that, for the private, non-public, and charter schools, they were just overzealous as to making sure that they implement the activity without realizing that there are documentations required so that they can be promptly compensated.
That's it for now. We'll see you tonight for KUAM News Primetime.
This news update is brought to you by Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
Well, as we were telling you over the weekend, over 100 island residents participated in the 2021 Pride Motorcade this past weekend. KUAM News spoke with some of the participants to see the importance of celebrating the month and what Pride means to them.
Although the island is still dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, members of the LGBTQ community and straight allies managed to make the 2021 Pride Motorcade a success safely. First, participants met up around 3:30 p.m. on Sunday at the Dededo Mayor's office for a quick briefing and to decorate their vehicles with rainbow-colored flags, pride banners, and colorful magnets. Then they started their engines, honking their horns, waving their flags on their way to the governor's complex in Hagåtña around 4 p.m. As participants were decorating their car out in the hot sun, we spoke with event organizers Kelly of the House of Diosa and F. Glenn Lujan of Sisters of the Moonlight about the importance of celebrating Pride.
Well, I think it's really important to show our visibility, let the community know that we are here, we're happy, and we're ready to celebrate.
And just let everyone know that we're out there. We're all different, come from different walks of life.
At the celebration, some participants shared what Pride means to them.
I think Pride is always setting an example for letting that inner light shine out. Because there are times where we always feel like we're invisible, where sometimes they feel even when we're invisible, that gives people the permission to do what they want with us. And this is our way of saying that we're here, we're queer, and we ain't going anywhere.
It's also not just about representation, it's about education.
Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Joshua Tenorio were in attendance at the event. Magahaga Leon Guerrero gave her remarks saying that members of the LGBTQ community have the support of the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration.
to do whatever we can in policies, in legislation, in standards, in whatever, to make sure that we are all treated fairly, equally, and recognized also fairly and equally, and that we're going to try to really remove the stigma, and we encourage people to be strong and courageous and to come out, like she said, and be who you are, because the respect will be there, and as more of you come out, and as more of us elected officials support it, I think it'll be such a great accomplishment and a success when all of us can be who we are.
Governor Leon Guerrero recalled the time she asked Tenorio to be her lieutenant governor.
When I asked him to be my lieutenant governor, he said, "But you know, Lou, I'm gay." I said, "So what?"
On Tuesday evening, a mass will be held for the LGBTQ community at the St. Anthony Catholic Church in Tamuning at 6 p.m. Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
News this morning, a man that helped bring in hundreds of grams of meth through the U.S. Postal Service is rebuilding his life after his sentencing hearing yesterday. Drug defender Eder Cortez Zelaya is finally a free man.
Eder Cortez Zelaya, the man involved in a major drug ring, is now free. District Court Judge Chief Francis Tydenko Gatewood calling him an exemplary record of rehabilitation. He faced a maximum of 10 years to life in prison, a 5-year supervised release term, and a $10,000 fine for his involvement in a crime that took place from 2010 to 2014. But that is all wiped off the table because the court has committed him to time served, and with no supervised release. Cortez, along with 11 others, brought in drugs through the U.S. Postal Service sent from Las Vegas. A total of 616 grams of meth was involved in this conspiracy. He was released on conditions earlier this year. According to his pretrial officer in the District of Nevada, Angela Robles, based on her record and review, Cortez Zelaya had no violations since being released and has complied with all his release conditions, even finding work in carpentry to bring in a stable income. Cortez Zelaya said in court, quote, "During my time in jail, I had a lot of time to reflect on what I had been doing. I spent that time learning to value life. I had a lot of reflection." Tydenko Gatewood stated that she rarely has anyone come in with the type of record. As for his resentencing, Tydenko Gatewood said she has never done this, but Cortez Zelaya has proven himself to be rehabilitated. All remaining counts on his case were dismissed. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
All right, let's get you up to speed on what's happening in the mainland now as the confirmed number of deaths in the Surfside, Florida condominium collapse tragedy rose to 9 on Sunday, with more than 150 people remaining unaccounted for. Dozens of rescue workers searched the rubble for survivors for a 4th day.
With the death toll rising, rescue crews continue the desperate search for life at the collapsed Surfside condo building. They used a crane to remove this large metal structure. Overnight and into Sunday, workers have been cutting a 40-foot deep trench into the rubble.
We continue to sweep the mound with our canines, using all of the technology available to us and machinery to lift the debris.
Buses took family members to visit the site of the collapse on Sunday.
They need to be close to their loved ones. They need to see what's going on firsthand.
Mike Noriega's grandmother Hilda is among the missing.
She's 92 years old, going on 62 years old. She's just so full of energy and she just loves people.
Now, an Israeli search and rescue team is joining crews working around the clock at the site.
There is always hope. You know, God is not promised succeed. He obeys you to make your efforts.
Newly released emails from 2018 show an engineering firm estimated the building needed more than $9 million in repairs. An earlier report from the firm found the ground floor pool deck that rested on a concrete slab was incorrectly angled and had major structural damage. It also uncovered abundant cracking and spalling of concrete columns, beams, and walls in the parking garage. But the report did not indicate those issues could lead to a collapse. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, Surfside, Florida.
Well, we continue our series right now, very, very popular series, I should add, featuring organizations that are Guam Safe certified by the Guam Visitors Bureau and have the World Travel and Tourism Council Safe Travel stamp. This week, we go over to Manila to feature the University of Guam.
Guam Safe and WTTC Safe Travel Certified Program Showcase is brought to you in partnership with the Guam Visitors Bureau.
UOG not only had to make everyone on our campus feel safe, but also everyone in our larger community as well. UOG is in the business of educating students to become leaders and active contributors to society. By becoming Guam Safe certified, UOG became a leader itself in the community by acknowledging that we're all part of a bigger family. Tritons are part of the Guam family, just like Guam and Micronesia are part of the global community. We're all in this together, and we all, individually and institutionally, have the responsibility to contribute to making safer, healthier communities. Half a day. I'm Norman Analista, Director for Development, Alumni Affairs, and Foundation Relations at the University of Guam. Being certified means that we as an organization are taking personal responsibility for the health and safety of our entire community as far as COVID-19 is concerned. It's an important way for the businesses, agencies, and organizations that people know and trust to step up as leaders and preserve our island's values of looking out for one another and moving forward together. We've also measured out classrooms and social spaces to ensure social distancing. On top of these protocols, we're ensuring that all students and employees who will be on campus submit proof of vaccination or provide weekly negative COVID-19 test results unless they're able to provide a valid reason for not being able to. This way, we're able to keep the campus and our students and employees as safe as possible. We're excited to have students and faculty back on campus. We're especially looking forward to the in-person collaborations and sense of community that classroom learning provides. We're fortunate that we have had the summer to prepare on a smaller scale to see if anything could be more efficient before welcoming back everyone in the fall. Registration for classes is ongoing, and we're already accepting students and employees' COVID-19 documents through a secure online form for the fall semester and the remaining summer session. Faculty are already adjusted to online instruction for those classes that will still be online, and our campus safety protocols have been in place for a while now and are effective and running smoothly. This will be an exciting semester, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone in person.
Guam Safe and WTTC Safe Travel Certified Program Showcase is brought to you in partnership with the Guam Visitors Bureau.
And now, here's your tomorrow news update.
Buenos updates to get soon to be finished tomorrow in the KUAM News. Presented ni Familian Mito, the First Hawaiian Bank. Después más que 2 semanas de tiempo me extradite magigin in Florida, si Nicholas Wayne Moore, 23 anos na edad, para matsakinya ni apuno si Michael Castro, tempo de kepo no otro na tauto gisipara na causa. No report KUAM makonni no U.S. Marshal Service Florida Caribbean Regional Fugitive Task Force, kiti nituhun esti na mes. Mananaga si Moore na para opia matsakina siya, kiti amam na tempo mo na. Mas gin nikoti, si Eder Cortez Zelaya aji membarga yun mazor na kanantadisan bineno gi isla sama na libre. Ilangnya Chief Judge gi District Court of Guam si Francis Taidenko Gatewood na sen mo lekirikot niya para modelon rehabilitation. Apan na si Cortez in masen 14 na sinintensya no 10 años hasta utumanila na la niya. 5 años na pinila ni autoridad como masota dan 10,000 pesos na minita para isaw niya. Niya committed sti 2010 hasta 2014 na sakan. Lo todo eso sa manasua makomite ni koti tempon niya este gihalumi preso jasin mapulan después ng ma-release. Si Cortez dan 11 talo mas na tawgi sa manlifid binenu halam ginin Las Vegas entry post office. At totat 616 grama na meth umambatga guihin na sinada. Sigon izon na pre-trial official giza Las Vegas si Angela Robles. Sigon na review siya na record Cortez. Taza kinanta DC binada niya distiyan ni Masota. Za osgi to di kondisyon izon na release za esta manyoda titson niya katpentero. Pero ga estable na swatdo. Elinga si Cortez Zelaya gi ikoti na gi durante maprisunya mege temponya pro hasu zanu fanorso no ebidonya. Elinga na sabizan tempo pro tungo balinya elinada. San megane tempo pro speos gue por ebidonya. Di masa suntu, U.S. Customs and Border Protection dan Guam International Airport Authority sa manusia ginigap na matutunan di simplified arrival na reglamento. Anak masa dilantu jo ya reglamento na di pasahero siya no manahalong gin noto lugad niya nasasabi di recognition falso ministerio marekonosi dokumento niya. Masangan ni Customs and Border Protection na zanggiban matoy pasahero siya man malitrato gisagan finen na lugad ni mafatogi. E biometric na nakumparan falso sa maprocess sa gidas. Sa makumpara adso na litrato sa noto siya na litrato ni adso na pasahero na ayos na gobernamento taigwi passport sa litratong visa. Adsi foreign travelers mamafananaan naman mapatugin ng Estados Unidos estas at tinisita ng masamiti printa ni kalulod niya para fan-ma-identifika. Sa makonfirma siyempre ginakumparan falso na process. Kumutisina masoda litrato gifao ni umadza ni nuevo na litrato. Siyempre manafanano para si taigwi na hagas manera rin ikonosi. Yuto mo, aata na si nuevo na EIP3 na apas. Inapas sa tutodgwi, 844,000 pesos sa esta man ma-process. Esta hulog dia 25 de junio, 210 milhões pesos na balan EIP3 na salapi. Saman mga policy huzong deste dia 10 de abril. Por todo uma processo 81,452. Para mais informação, jang questiona siya halwing myguamtax.com. Para Guam News Network, Guausikin Conception. Yasunto ifinut sa moro sa presenta sa ninafato ni Familia Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
June makes the best malasadas in Hawaii, a fact not lost on Darryl, whose brother Byron is cooking the onaga he caught at his secret fishing spot with his girlfriend Malia, who used to work for the Shave Ice Guy, whose second cousin Vince drives the school bus ridden by Calais, whose auntie makes the best malasadas in Hawaii. Everything here is connected, and with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances, and it all starts with yes.
Please stay tuned because the link will continue right after this.
Uno Go, delivering meals from your favorite restaurants and more, including delivering sodas and adult beverages from the Bottle Shack. Visit uno-go.com or download the app today. Also follow them on Instagram and Facebook. KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time each Friday to talk food, taste food, and bring you all the latest and greatest in food from King's Restaurants and Ruby Tuesday Guam, old faves, new hits, and everything on the menu in between. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
After a year with so many games and events delayed or unplayed, the world is ready for anything and everything in the world of sports. KUAM Communications is ready with more games, more championships, and more specials that are guaranteed to bring out the fan in you. Don't miss a minute of gameplay from NBC on KUAM TV 8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month, we'll bring you the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer, Marianas Irrigation and Landscape, and Docomo Pacific. Just more great reasons to tune in and turn on so you'll fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
Catch SportsLink on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday to hear about the latest in sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. SportsLink,
brought to you each week by Cure Alkaline Water and Marianas Irrigation and Landscape,
airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. SportsLink is hosted by Dave Delgado through KUAM Sports, and he will make sure that everyone knows what is happening on the fields, in the gyms, and everywhere in between.
The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV 8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentations, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, Bud Light Seltzer, and Docomo Pacific, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
Now we be loving from the dark into dawning. Now I'm looking in your eyes in the morning. Then you look at me, girl, and smile. 'Cause you know I treat you right all the while. Nowhere else in the world I'd be. No more beautiful women I've seen. Where the sky is clear and the grass is green. Island girls, you are man's best dream.
Hey, good morning. Morning. When are they going to come out with an Island Guys song?
It would be canceled.
Singing the praises of the Island Men. It's 8:41, Tuesday, June 29th. Coming up on the show, we're going to do Talk Shop Tuesdays with our friends at Pacific Grocers. The product, Silk Almond Milk. Don't judge me, guys. Rice is vegan, okay? Before you judge me. Someone's like, oh, Chris, we don't know you anymore. You make vegan recipes. What happened to you? You forgot about the little people. No, I did not. I did it for the money. It was a sponsored thing. It's 8:41. Let's head into the KUAM News Zoom room, where the acting Chief Public Health Officer, Chia Mbakwem, with Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services, joins us now. Good morning, Chima.
Morning, Chris.
Morning. So we wanted to bring you on. Just anytime we see the double digits in COVID positives, it's always good to get you on to get more info on it. So these 16 positives, were they from weekend testing?
Yes. Yeah. They were from the 25th to the 27th.
And
so that's Friday to Sunday.
So what do we need to know about these 16 positive cases of COVID-19?
Okay, so 3 of them are military cases, and 13 of them are local cases. But out of the 13 local cases, 7 of them, like when I say local, like I'm trying to distinguish between the military cases and the cases that are on the other side of the fence. But for those on the other side of the fence, 7 of them were actually locals, but the other 6 are non-residents. So these are people that were in transit and had to get tested for COVID, and they turned positive. So we counted them as our local cases because they were tested on island, but theoretically they are not part of us.
Is there any other information you could give us on those cases? The military, so is it Guard or is it DOD?
The DOD, yes.
And then, so what's the process when you get a DOD positive? Do they go over on the DOD side?
So when you say DOD, these are tests that were performed on base. So it could be a local resident that is either a retiree or active duty member. So why we count it as on base is because of the test was conducted at the Navy hospital. So it could be a local tomorrow, like it could be a retiree who has access to the Navy hospital. But if he has to, so if it's a local that is living off base, the case investigation is handed over to the Department of Public Health. But if it's an active duty member, the military public health handles it on base. So this has been an ongoing understanding for all communicable diseases, on the island, just not COVID.
Is there a lot of information sharing that goes on when, let's say, you guys learn of a positive case that is an active duty member and it's handled on the DOD side, or do they kind of check out after that?
No, so it's a lot of information because I think, this, like I said, this has been ongoing for a long time for other communicable diseases. So COVID didn't change our working relationship with DOD. So what it is, like when you have a case, you just need to do your first interview. That's when you determine, how you're going to handle the case. We've also had situations where we had TB cases, where the individual gets tested on base, but all the contacts live off base, Then the military would work with us to identify those contacts, and then we do the direct observed therapy for their treatment. So the case information sharing is transparent and there's nothing hidden.
So what about the other cases?
Which ones? The remaining 6. Like I explained, they were actually in transit. They stopped over on Guam and they were transiting out and they got tested and they were positive. So we isolated them and then after that we'll let them travel. But they are not local cases and they were not in the community. So that particular number, we really don't have any scare with those numbers. But for the total close contacts for all these cases, we had 24 household contacts. And within these 24 household contacts, 4 actually turned positive. Yeah. And then some of them were vaccinated and some were not vaccinated at all. So, it's a mixture of vaccinated individuals and unvaccinated individuals.
Okay, I might have missed something. Can we go back? So you said there were, 7 DOD cases?
No, 3.
3 DOD cases.
Yeah, 3. Okay. 3 that were reported by DOD.
Okay.
So like I explained, it could have been, like for me, if I go to the Navy hospital to go get checked.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then the other cases, so the other 13.
So 7 of them were, like I explained, were through contact tracing and they were local cases. Okay. And then the remaining 6 were those transiting passengers that I explained to you, that don't have anything to do with the community. So it was the initial cases that we had. So out of the 7, 4 of them were actually through contact tracing. So basically it was just 3 cases that we had, and then out of the 3 cases, 4 more were identified. So you see how it pans out. So that is how detailed the case investigations are now, because the case we're trying to make sure that we can narrow it down to the exact person. So what it was there were just 3 cases over the weekend on island, but out of these 3 cases, 4 of them were close contacts within the family unit. So it's not a community spread. And then the remaining 6 that made it 13 were those transiting passengers, and then the 3 were from the military that were reported to us.
I wanted to ask, because when we instituted this, if you're fully vaccinated and you bring all your paperwork, you get to skip out of quarantine policy. We were kind of told that the need for quarantine would kind of dwindle down, but we're still using the same quarantine facility, right?
Yes, but you also need to look at the census, and also, moving forward, we're working towards reducing the size of the quarantine site, and that takes the government procurement process and the bidding and all that. So we're actually working towards reducing the size of the quarantine facility, because the number of people in quarantine has actually reduced with the change in the travel guidance.
By how much would you say?
How much would I say?
Like, what's the census for the quarantine?
I can't give you the number this morning offhand, but it has considerably reduced, from what we, from 600, from 600, 800, I think is coming down to the low hundreds, maybe 200 or 100, around that number, but I can't be exact, so I need to look at the data from last night to be able to give you that information.
I guess just maybe offhand, Chima, nothing concrete, but let's say a flight comes in, give it to us in a guesstimated percentage, like what percent of the people on that flight are able to skip out on the quarantine because they've been fully vaccinated and they have all.
Sometimes you're seeing up to 80 to 90% in some flights. Yeah, depending on how lucky we are, Yeah.
Oh, that's great. But no word yet on scaling down the quarantine facility.
No, we've actually met. We've actually met to discuss scaling down. We've met to discuss consolidation. So there's, anytime the guidance changes, there's also the need for us to change some of our, strategies. So we're actually discussing internally, but it doesn't happen in one day.
I see. What are we doing for outreach, vaccination, testing this week?
So we're continuing our outreach for vaccination. We've identified more sites that we're going to announce, or if they've not even announced it in the JIC, yesterday. We're trying to play catch up. We're working extremely hard, to make sure that we vaccinate as many people as we can on the island, because it's proven, and with the Delta variant, locking around in some of the countries around us, it's important that people, go get vaccinated to get some degree of protection in case, for any reason, we get hit. At least we will not have that level of hospitalization or people being sick. Like I always say, until the pandemic is called off, there's always, clear and present danger, one day at a time, one case, can lead to something else. So it's just been extra vigilant and ensure that people get that protection that they need. This is not the government protecting you now. This is you protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Because the vaccine in your arm will protect you, not me. So if you understand the need to live longer, stay healthy for yourself, your family, and the community, then if you've not gotten the vaccine, you should at least go to one of our clinics to go get vaccinated.
Chima, on that note, you said there are 4 of the 16 positives. There was 4 from a household contact, and then you mentioned some of them were vaccinated. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Some of them were vaccinated. Yes, so some of them, with the vaccine information, I try very hard, with the team, to understand at what level of the vaccination. So, someone can tell you I'm vaccinated. It might be the first dose. It might be 3 days after their first dose. It might be 6 days. So we are still. What we know is that I think 4 of them were fully vaccinated, and the other ones we're still looking at finding out what their vaccination status is at this point. But like you said, being fully vaccinated, you can still get infected. But the things that you won't get sick. You won't go to the hospital.
And was that the case with these 4 individuals?
Yes. And like I said the last time, they were asymptomatic. So they were, so if they were not identified as close contacts, and tested and isolated, those are 4 individuals who would have been walking around the island infecting unvaccinated people, who might not be wearing their mask or keeping their safe distance from other people. So that is that balance that we always say we try to strike with, the vaccination, and also looking at the non-pharmaceutical interventions that has been in place, from the beginning. So if we strike a good balance, you're vaccinated, you wear your mask, you keep your distance, then you're not going to get sick. But if you're unvaccinated, you're not wearing a mask, someone who is vaccinated, who might have the virus, who is asymptomatic, might actually infect you who is unvaccinated. And it's going to be more devastating for the unvaccinated than the vaccinated. So it's just that balance. But it's striking to know that these fully vaccinated individuals were asymptomatic, and if they were not, contact traced, then it would have been a challenge. So that's why the team is still focused on, investigating every single case that comes across. We're not resting on our oars now because of the fact that we have vaccination. It's business as usual for us, for contact investigation. Nothing changed from the beginning. It's still consistent.
Chima, I know that you said that if you're fully vaccinated, you can still catch the virus. But if you're vaccinated and you test positive, whether you're asymptomatic or symptomatic, can you still spread the virus?
Yes, you can spread the virus, but it depends on how much you can spread. It depends on what like if you're infected and you're wearing a mask, fully vaccinated, not fully vaccinated, you're not spreading the virus because it has to come out from your mouth or your nose, to infect other people. So I think the level of transmissibility is not in question. The transmissibility is not in question, but is the degree that might be in question. For people who are fully vaccinated might not transmit as much as people who are not fully vaccinated. So it's just that.
Right on. Anything in closing, Chima?
Like just to end it, the challenge will be, fully vaccinated, not fully vaccinated, try and protect other people, wear your mask. But we are still having our vaccine clinics, and I would continuously encourage those who are unvaccinated, to go get vaccinated. And then for those who are vaccinated, I would highly encourage, still wearing your mask, and washing your hands and keeping safe distance, until this is completely called off. Let us enjoy the freedom, that we've achieved, with the efforts that we put in as a community, and at the same time remain vigilant and protect ourselves, so that we won't have a resurgence.
How's the turnout been at your vaccination clinics?
The turnout?
Yeah, you're still getting good turnout because we're on that. We want to get that herd immunity, right?
Yes, and the good thing is that the numbers are still encouraging. People, like the last leg of the vaccination has been determined to be the hardest. Because these are people, that you need to put in more effort to convince to come out to get vaccinated, because if they've not been vaccinated up to this point, with what is going on, maybe some of them need, a little more education. I actually had an interaction with one of my good friends who told me that his staff did not want to get vaccinated, and he actually told the staff, if you're going to be front-facing, and dealing with customers, it's advisable for you to go get vaccinated. But if you don't, you're going to leave the front and go to the back, and do something else, because I want to protect my business. I want to protect the community, right? So this staff actually went out to go get vaccinated. So when the individual came back, and the question was, why did you go get vaccinated? What was your reason for not getting vaccinated at the beginning? And the individual said, there's all these stories going about, and I just didn't want to do it. But you were ready to do it for no reason. But when you realized that you were a danger to the community, and the business understood that you were a danger to the community by being unvaccinated, and wanted to take you out of your duty post to reassign you, then it becomes okay for you to go get vaccinated. So it is that lack of information that people, have. We try very hard, to push out information, but people deliberately go to Google and type, why should I take the vaccine? Yeah. Look for negative reasons not to take the vaccine. If you type positive things in Google, you're going to see reasons, you're going to see statistics on how the vaccine has been able to protect people. So
what if you type vaccine and microchip mind control? What comes up?
I didn't know that when you put liquid in a human being's arm, it turns to microchip. You just look at it. It's just ridiculous.
It's the nanotech. Didn't you watch Iron Man, Shima? Didn't you watch Iron Man? There's little robots, and they go in you, and they got their hammer, and they're like, we build in, they bring in the microchip parts, each little thing, and then they each have a piece, and there's a whole assembly line, and you got to watch Iron Man.
Those conspiracy theories are, sometimes they're so ridiculous, Yeah. I'm sitting there trying to imagine.
To be fair, right, Jima, it doesn't even have to be conspiracy theory. I mean, people who don't want to get vaccinated could simply have the belief that, this was an emergency use approval. I don't think, it was on the up and up, and I'm just going to wait. I mean, that's valid. I get it, right?
Yeah, we understand, it's okay, but we still try to, engage in that intellectual discussion, try to state the facts. I'm okay to speak with anybody, my number is out there, I can get into that discussion, about why vaccines are good, It's important for us to, understand that these things are, the benefit outweighs the risk. We might have one or two, situations that might be uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, the risk the benefit will always outweigh the risk. And if your doctor says you should take the vaccine, you should go take the vaccine. If public health says you should take the vaccine.
We had a couple comments here. Update of the variants on island. I'm concerned about the Delta variant. Is this the variant that can beat up the vaccination?
The study is still ongoing, but the Delta variant is not a very nice variant, But the vaccines are there to, offer protection, and I think at this point we're still, believing that the vaccine would actually protect us against the Delta variant, with the studies that are already out there. It's hard, but it's tolerable for people who are vaccinated. So we're actually vigilant too. We're still doing the genome sequencing, to continuously watch out for these variants. So,
Chima, during the economic forum last week, the governor had made several pronouncements. One of them was that after we achieve herd immunity, when the islands reopen, she's going to loosen the mask-wearing mandates. But we just heard from you that if you're vaccinated, you can still not only catch the virus, but you can also spread it. So Rosemary comments in with a question: would it be best then to continue with mask wearing at herd immunity?
Yeah, like if you listen to how the governor started, she always makes it clear that she's a nurse, so she has a very good understanding of disease transmission, right? So what she was trying to imply is, there's a mandate, for us to use the mask, in certain places, but relaxing the use of masks could be in your home, with your family members, you can relax the use of masks. But it doesn't mean that she will not encourage, the use of masks in public places where you're going to mix with people who are not your family members and people that you don't know their health conditions. So, and like you said, is reducing the mandate, not completely doing away with the mandate. I think even if you look at Japan before COVID, they were wearing masks, every day, before COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, so her saying that is just saying, at some point some of the mandates will be reduced, but it doesn't stop us from, doing the right thing, which is, continuing to wear the mask.
I feel weird. I feel weird not wearing the mask.
Me too. I only don't wear the mask in my house.
I like it,
office.
dude. I like wearing the mask. I think it's cool. I look mysterious, right, Jay? What do you think? I look kind of like mysterious,
Yeah, so.
Well, Chima, thank you always for your input and the information that you share here on the show. You are appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope the people won't get tired of hearing my sing-song about getting vaccinated. And I hope, and I sincerely ask people to go get vaccinated so that we can return to normal and be a little more relaxed, and live life to its fullest.
Chris,
wearing a mask, wearing a mask and being normal is the new normal. So I think the more we get vaccinated, the more we return to normal, and people will get to enjoy themselves.
Chris Cave comments in here: the Delta variant is a new virus? ? No. Can you kind of explain the variant concept just real quick, Chima?
So for every virus, so at some point they actually mutate. It's almost like trying to dribble through a quarterback, in the game of football. So for every time.
Hold on, guys. He means soccer. You don't dribble through a quarterback in American football. Chima used to play for the national team, right? Chima, you played for the Nigerian national team?
No. Wow, that is impossible.
No, he's a footballer. So when he talks about football, it's soccer, right? So when you're trying to dribble through, go ahead.
Yeah. So when you try to dribble through, the defender is just being very not scientific. It's more like the thief and the police. The police will come up with a new strategy to stop the thieves. They come up with another strategy because the thieves are always almost like one step ahead of the police, but the police will always catch up. So it's a back and forth. So that's what the virus is actually doing. So when you get at some point they try to turn into something else, to continue doing what they're doing. So not being too scientific, it's just the virus changing strategies, on how to continue multiplying and infecting people. Let me not get too scientific.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chima.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. We'll see you. Have a good day. That's Chima Mbakwe, the acting chief public health officer. Very consistent with his messaging, Jay. I like what he said there. He's like, I hope you guys get tired of hearing me. I hope you're not tired of hearing me say the same thing. But
he called it his sing-song message. But the one thing
his
though,
sing-song message.
We know here because we run like a music radio station. You play a song long enough, it gets in people's
head
and it gets sticky.
Yep.
And it catches on.
That's
so
it.
We hope that would be the case with Chima's message.
Yeah. So Chima, anytime you want to come on and do the same sing-song message, Shoot me a WhatsApp. Okay, there you go. Take it easy. 9:09. We're going to take a quick break, guys. All right? Because it always gets my heart rate up when we talk about these positives. And coming up, we are going to stick with public health. How's that, guys? There's a theme here.
Oh, we got a double dose.
Yep. We're getting a 2 for Tuesday.
A rubber game.
Yep. Public Health, Division of Environmental Health. They are in the Zoom. And we're going to talk with them about all the inspections that are going on right here on the link. The show continues next. Good morning.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage, with generations of Filipinos calling Guam home. KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by the Bank of Guam and KFC.
This July, Independent Guahan and Todung Marianas presents Nat Lotlat, Songs of Freedom Volume 5. This event is a chance for the community to connect to conscious and empowering social change and decolonization through music, poetry, art, and dance. Nat Lotlat, Songs of Freedom airs Sunday, July 4th, 7 to 9 p.m. on KUAM TV8. Nat Lotlat means to give life, and in that spirit, join Independent Guahan on July 4th as we create an evening of art and creativity aimed at giving life to our community and our dreams for a more just and equitable future. Viva Guahan!
Make sure you're connected. The writing's on the wall. 'Cause if your mind's neglected, stumble you might fall,
Connection is a human necessity, one we need today more than ever. And with the new First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, you can stay just as connected to your finances. And it all starts with yes.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
After a year with so many games and events delayed or unplayed, the world is ready for anything and everything in the world of sports. KUAM Communications is ready with more games, more championships, and more specials that are guaranteed to bring out the fan in you. Don't miss a minute of gameplay from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month, we'll bring you the action and excitement. Brought to you locally by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer, Marianas Irrigation and Landscape, and Docomo Pacific. Just more great reasons to tune in and turn on so you'll fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
Catch SportsLink on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday to hear about the latest in sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. SportsLink,
brought to you each week by Pure Alkaline Water and Marianas Irrigation and Landscape,
airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. SportsLink is hosted by Dave Delgado through KUAM Sports, and he will make sure that everyone knows what is happening on the fields, in the gyms, and everywhere in between.
As a reporter, I often ask people what compelled them to get the COVID-19 vaccine. For me, someone who's lived through coronavirus, I can't help but fear the idea of possibly infecting others, unknowingly passing it along to someone with a lesser immune system, someone's mother, father, grandparent, or someone who wouldn't be as blessed to suffer only minor symptoms. When I contracted COVID, that is what weighed most on my heart and mind, and that's why I did everything in my power to prevent this from happening, by following public health protocols. And now I am doing the same thing, being mindful my decisions, choices, and actions don't only affect me, but the entire nation. So I chose to get vaccinated, simply to protect others. My name is Adriana Cotero. I'm a KUAM News reporter and anchor, and a proud member of the Vaccination.
Join the vaccination. Scan and plan. For more information, go to KUAM.com.
Brought to you by American Medical Center, your partner in healthcare.
Little candlelight, no students, and that's just how it's been. And maybe we can try again. Try. Maybe we can try again. I remember all the days gone by, and I'm wondering why I couldn't see that I could search the whole world over and never find what you always giving me.
All right, we're back on the link. Good morning, 9:14. Guam Youth Congress coming up. Plus, we do Talk Shop Tuesdays with Pacific Grocers. Doing up some Silk almond milk. Good stuff. And it's coming up here on the show. At 9:14, let's head into the Zoom room. It's 2 for Tuesday with Public Health. We now have the Division of Environmental Health. Continuing to wish Malus Groggs a happy retirement. And we have joining us now in the KUAM News Zoom room, Jerome Garcia, who's the Acting Environmental Public Health Officer Supervisor, and also Leilani Navarro, Food Safety Manager. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Right on, Jerome. How's it, bro? You're the big man now, or what?
Oh, just acting for now. Everyone's all hands on deck for the local dengue case we have, but yep, I'm the go-to guy for now.
Right, and you guys can talk a little bit about dengue, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We won't give, of course, confidential information,
Of course.
privacy information, but we can talk about the local dengue case that's been occurring the past week.
So let's start there. There was a local dengue case, and it was determined that it was local, meaning they caught it here. It wasn't imported or anything. And I'm assuming you guys are probably doing like a lot of outreach because of that, right?
That is correct. So our operations, when we do receive a local confirmed case of dengue, our team, all hands on deck again, we would conduct surveillance and control around the target area. We would conduct a 200 meter radius spread and canvass all the surrounding homes and buildings and residences in that area, provide them education. So we do give out pamphlets on how to protect yourself from mosquito bites, information about dengue fever, as well as collect samples for identification and rearing. So that would include using our aspirators to catch adult mosquitoes, whether it's manually or through our battery-powered aspirators. So they're essentially, vacuums that you would suck up adult mosquitoes, or also through collecting larva samples. So we would get these, big turkey basters and check for sources of breeding, and that's usually in a lot of containers that hold water. So we've caught a couple, we found a couple. They're in our lab being raised right now for identification. So that's as far as the surveillance and outreach goes. And at the same time, of course, we asked permission if we could set our mosquito traps, and that way we can, see just how widespread or how far these mosquitoes are able to go.
So it's a good time to invest in mosquito coil and off stock, right?
Oh, definitely. The best way to prevent yourself from getting dengue or from getting bit is to use preventative measures such as using the mosquito repellent. As long as they have the appropriate active ingredients, then they should be sufficient enough to protect yourself from getting bit. Yeah.
Do you guys have any tips? Like, what is that one they say? Oh, wear this type of color clothing.
Yeah, so as far as clothing, if you spend a lot of time outdoors, of course you want to cover up. So long, loose-fitting clothing is fine. But mosquitoes are more attracted to a dark-colored material. So if you're wearing black or brown, they're more attracted to those colors. They're more attracted to the CO2 emissions. So if you give off a lot of CO2, you'll tend to notice you get bit more. So those two factors, along with heat, would make you a prime candidate to be bit by mosquitoes. So if you're outdoors, you can wear long sleeve clothing, apply mosquito repellent, make sure it's light colored, that helps your chances from getting bit. But again, the best thing to do is, to take preventative measures. So not only using mosquito repellent or wearing long, loose-fitting clothing, dumping out mosquito sources of breeding. So any water containers, plants that hold water, you can flush them out. Any pet dishes or toys, all those are prime places for mosquitoes to breed, especially the type that may potentially be the vector for transmitting dengue.
Right. So when we hear that this is a local case from a local mosquito who transmitted dengue, how does that even happen? I mean, scientifically, right? So just like pop out of nowhere, or where'd it come from?
Yeah. So I'm not too sure of the origin. It may be here. People may be symptomatic, so they don't show. But essentially, the way mosquito transmission works for mosquito-borne disease to go from person to person is that the person would already have to have the virus in their blood. The mosquito would then feed on that person. The mosquito would then get the bacteria or the virus into their system. It would take a couple of days for that to go from their proboscis to their gut. And then finally, that mosquito would bite other people, therefore transferring the virus or bacteria from them to other people. So that's pretty much the route of mosquito transmission for mosquito-borne diseases. As far as its origin, I don't know. It could be here, but that's essentially how mosquito transmission for diseases works.
Right. So you guys are is there a lot of resources being devoted to this? Something you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, so fortunately, we're lucky that it's still one case. It's not declared an outbreak yet, but we are treating it as such. So, we are utilizing all our manpower to ensure that the spread of, dengue is not going to happen. So all our staff is going out there to do education, to do outreach. We're calling people to, let them know that we are spraying. So we are applying insecticide, adulticide for adult mosquitoes and larvicide for those still in their larval and pupal form to sort of like nip it in the bud, just to knock them down right at the start so it doesn't get any worse.
Right on. What's the condition of the dengue patient?
I'm not too sure on that. I can't answer to that, but hoping they're fine, but I'm not too sure on those.
Were they like hospitalized or?
That one, I'm not too sure. We just received a report that there was a local confirmed case of dengue at this particular area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Let's get into the sanitation inspections. Leilani, I'm looking at the report for sanitation inspection results ending June 20th. So I guess if you want to just kind of recap some of the inspection results here. There's a big one. I think we reported on this, the Green Supermarket in Harmon. You want to start there?
Yes, that's correct. So this inspection was a regular inspection. So our inspectors went out on June 15 to conduct inspection. The Green Supermarket has actually 3 sanitary permits. So we did 3 inspections for the retail portion, the manufacturing portion, as well as the vending machine. So all 3 permits were suspended because of an assessment that was identified there was Pest, actually rodent and roach infestation in the facility.
I'd just like to let that marinate for a second. And this is Green Supermarket in Harmon. They also do a water, they've got like a little water dispenser thing there.
It's actually under a different operator. It's a Rainmaker, but it is being operated out of Green Supermarket. And so the inspectors found some evidence of pest infestation around the vending machine. So that was part of the closure.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to go ahead and read some of the items on your report here. Item violation observations. Person in charge did not demonstrate knowledge and perform duties. Hand washing facilities not adequately supplied and accessible. Presence of insects, rodents, and or animals observed. Toilet facilities not properly constructed, supplied, and or cleaned. Physical facilities not properly installed, maintained, and or kept clean. Adequate ventilation and or lighting not provided. And there was also similar findings for the Green Supermarket Harmon. They do a food thing here. So some of the are they making food, Leilani, for purchase, like packaged food items?
So when because of the manufacturing permit, they actually make different types of potentially hazardous food. So this would be the I'm not very sure what the products are, but usually these are the pickled items that they make, and it may be some sandwiches, but it was not.
Tuna sandwich or what?
I'm sorry?
Tuna sandwich, because I was craving a tuna sandwich today, but I don't know if it's tuna. Help me
I'm
out.
not sure what the exact products are, but usually this mom and pop stores that have a manufacturing facility inside, they would make pickled Daigo or pickled mangoes, sandwiches, what have you.
Yeah, so for the food manufacturing, they found food not meeting temperature requirements for hot and cold holding, thermometer not provided and are accurate. Again, the presence of the insects, rodents, and or animals. Food and non-food contact surfaces not smooth and easily cleanable. Washing facilities not installed. That's something I'm seeing in these reports is there's a lot of places that don't have adequately maintained hand washing facilities.
Yes, and that's actually, a critical violation because we, through studies, it's been found that the major foodborne illness risk factor is when employees are not washing their hands properly. So that's that may lead to increased risk for foodborne illness. So it's actually a 6-item demerit.
I'm looking at this Fleet Services Dormitory 293B Dedido. Previous inspection report not posted. Facility not properly maintained. Adequate supply of hot and cold running water not provided. Adequate lighting not provided. No adequate vector control in place. What is this facility? Fleet Services Dormitory.
So that's barracks. It's a temporary workforce housing for the H2 workers.
Is it a company? Is the company called Fleet Services?
That's what the company's called. Fleet Services Dormitory. I'm not sure. I would have to check on that.
Is that something you guys routinely do? Is inspect H2 worker barracks?
Yes, it's part of our mandate. So we conduct inspections of usually construction companies that bring in H2 workers, and they house them in this dormitory type facilities. And of course, we want to make sure that the houses that are being provided are adequate to ensure the safety and, of course, the health and safety of the workers.
So what are hand washing, that's pretty basic, but what are some of the other violations that people may find surprising that you guys discover?
Surprising, it's not, when as we've been doing inspections for how many years, we have, if you're normal, people will be surprised what you'll see in a regulated facility, right? But for us, it's a usual occurrence would be there's evidence of pest infestation, and there's usually outer openings that may attract the pests to come inside the facility. Also, some of these facilities wouldn't have the hot running water to ensure proper hand washing. So,
wow. And then maybe if you want to just connect the dots for us, pest infestation. I hear people, we see it in the comments where if a restaurant or a business has cockroaches, people put like, oh, come on, you have cockroaches at your house. But what is the risk associated with pest infestation, especially relative to food establishments?
So these pests actually, when they can cross-contaminate food contact surfaces such as cutting boards or plates or cooking utensils. And they can actually, if the food is exposed to pests, the pests can carry pathogens such as bacteria and possibly viruses that can go into the food, and when the person ingests it, and they can develop foodborne illness symptoms such as vomiting, diarrhea, and nausea.
I don't know if this is a science question, but I think I saw something in one of the stories about one of the inspections you guys had where a customer had remarked that something in the restaurant smelled like cockroaches.
I think that was one of the complaints that resulted in the inspection of Spring Kitchen. Yes, so some people, there's actually a definite, distinctive smell of roaches, and some even rodent urine you could smell when you enter a facility. So part of our training as inspectors is we undergo a pest control training, which is the core, and Cat 7 certification, which is being offered by Guam EPA. So every few years we undergo the training just to freshen up our knowledge on how to detect pests in an establishment and how to control them. So we undergo this training, pass the exam, and receive the certification every few years. So we're aware what items to look for, using our sense of course, sight, smell, and just looking at possible signs that may point us to an infestation determination.
Wow, so they actually make you like get down and smell stuff that had cockroaches on it and rodent pee, or how does it work? And could you describe the smell?
Yeah, that's what we usually do. We have to go through, sometimes this actually, especially cockroaches, they like to hide in dark places. So we have to go under tables or refrigerators, even open cabinets. And so most of the time we would find the roaches there hiding.
What do you find mostly, though, the big ones or the little ones?
It depends. Mostly if it's, it really varies. Because Guam has different types of roaches. We have the German roach, the Oriental roach, so the American roach. So we find all of these in the establishments. The big ones, the small ones, the eggs, and parts of the bodies. When the roaches mold and change their casing.
Right.
So we find all those.
They turn into a roach butterfly, right? Jerome, how would you describe the smell of cockroaches for those people out there who don't know?
It's definitely this sort of just musky must that's just lingering in the air. I don't know how to put it into words, but you'll definitely tell. I mean, sometimes it's a bit difficult because, especially in a kitchen that's not being maintained clean, there's mixtures of food particle debris and oil, dried oil that's just sort of culminating in the air. But it's definitely this musky scent that's just lingering. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, you look like you want to say something.
No, that Jerome, that was exactly like the word that I was thinking of,
Must.
like must. And then now there's a difference between must with a T and not musk.
Musk.
Yeah. You would not want to use that kind of thing as like your cologne when you go on a date.
But Jerome, what is it about the roaches that leaves this scent? Are they like spraying stuff, or is it just their natural?
So a lot of times the roaches, they sort of leave, like they poo. They poo everywhere they go. So they leave these bits of roach poo is called frass. So they'll just leave them everywhere they go. Whenever they settle, whenever they eat, whenever they're walking around. and you'll see them. It looks just like black streaks, black stains on the walls. And again, it could be, confused as dried oil that's dripping from the kitchen stove. But, just a mixture of those things, that's sort of what adds up to that foul odor.
I know
That's why they smell. And of course they're running around everywhere, in old food, in the sewers, toilets. So whatever places they travel, they pick up on their feet and they bring it along into the kitchen. So again, another reason why you may say, hey, we have roaches everywhere. But of course, in a food establishment, you don't want that, because if they're running around your plates, running around your food, and then that's how everyone gets sick, especially if it's a restaurant you like to go to.
I want to go into rats, but that's kind of self-explanatory, right? Still waiting on our rat video, Jerome.
We'll see. I'll ask upper management about that.
Hey, Lonnie, let me ask you, when you're doing an inspection and you're looking down, like you said, in those dark places and the roach runs out, do you ever just by instinct kill it? Or do you guys not allowed to engage?
Actually, Chris, our first instinct is to take a video or a picture, because we want some evidence that we found this. Yes.
See, now that's a professional right there.
Yeah, that is. I mean, you got to keep your cool, take that picture. Sometimes they fly at you, too.
Yeah.
Well, anything in closing, Jerome? Are you guys doing how often are you guys out there doing the inspections? Because it does seem like they're definitely ramped up.
Yeah, so again, we're sort of short-staffed. We have people either retiring or transferring to different places. So if you have a passion for environmental health and you sort of like the things we're doing, helping the community, whether it's through mosquito surveillance and control or food establishment inspections and protecting the community, then look to being an environmental health inspector. But for us, because we have such a small team, we are, not gonna lie, we are sort of backed up, especially since COVID's happening, and then of course we have the dengue thing happening. But we are trying our best to address the complaints and to keep up with our inspections. But again, if you have more complaints, you can always hit us up at our website. We do have a complaint form you can submit to us, or you can give us a ring, 300-9579. As far as our social media, you can always follow us there for more information. So that's our social media for our Facebook and Instagram would be Guam Environmental Health. I don't have the exact URLs right now, but if you Google it, you'll be able to find this. Lay, anything else?
Well, I just want to encourage people, that wanted to help the community, of course, by protecting public's health through helping us with the inspections and conducting mosquito surveillance. We have a lot of openings, so I enjoin you to apply and submit your applications. So thank you.
Right on. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you, Lonnie. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good talk there, Jay. The science behind the smell of cockroaches.
Yeah, very, very informative.
Yep.
And
juicy.
Good thing I was also practicing intermittent fasting, because I'm not feeling as if I'm missing a meal right now.
You were hungry before that interview, right?
Hungry for knowledge, but
Yeah. Hey guys, it's 9:36. Wow, we're getting kind of backed up here. What happened? What happened, guys?
You're talking about rat crap.
I know. Sorry, I got distracted. Got caught up talking about roach smell. Talk Shop Tuesday. Ooh, that's a long one. Let's go ahead and jump in with the Youth Congress real quick, guys. Hi, good morning. We have Vice Speaker Alabang. He's joined by Reps Alexander Gale and Nolan Flores. I don't have much time, but I definitely appreciate you coming on. Al, I was texting you last night. Let's make this like every other week. You guys come on and tell us what you guys are working on and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Sounds good. We'll just go ahead and start with the Congressman's speech. If you all were able to watch it, we did have a little panel this morning that kind of discussed some of the things that were covered. So go ahead, Al, just some of the takeaways from the Congressman's address yesterday at the Guam Congress Hall.
Yeah, for me, I just want to credit him on making sure Guam is included in all the federal relief payments that was given to all the other states as well and other territories. And of course, especially with UOG with the relief that UOG get, UOG was able to postpone the scheduled tuition increase that's supposed to be happening soon. But I feel that the congressman should work more with our local government officials and making sure that the federal relief that brought on the island be spent on the top priorities of our government. And yeah, that's what I think should happen next. And of course, like making sure Guam is included in all talks, especially on the Afghan evacuation and of course a call for negotiation in 2023.
Nolan?
Yeah, I was able to catch it, just the recording though. Yeah, like Al said, you reported on quite a few things, but I think one thing that it was definitely missing from the speech was discussion on political status and decolonization, really. I mean, a lot of the things he talked about, like fighting for Guam's inclusion in federal programs, or even the relief packages, right? Like things that states are already automatically included in. Even also how he discussed negotiating trade agreements as sort of acting like an independent country, right? Those things are related to political status, but that was notably absent from his speech. So yeah, I was a little concerned as to why there wasn't a mention. I mean, the governor has a big commitment to holding a plebiscite during her administration, if not this term, then a future term, but it was absent from his speech. So I was just interested in that contrast. And I wonder his position on it. I mean, we know in the past that he said Guam has had to adult before we can pursue political status change, which I completely agree with. I think that is our step toward becoming much more self-sustaining. So yeah, I was hoping to hear the congressman's remarks and what he's doing in DC to advance that issue when there's a lot being done locally.
You talked about the relief packages, the federal relief packages, and how their states and territories are kind of like default included, right? It's a given that we get this aid. What do you make, though, of, and we talked about this earlier in the panel, of the success the congressman has had in taking credit for this 2-point-something billion in federal funds that, I mean, because of course he's going to take credit for it. He's the one over in Congress. I mean, even if he's absent half the time or whatever, politicians do that kind of thing. But he's managed to like successfully sell this to the people.
Yeah, so it's definitely doing the bare minimum to make sure that we're included in these programs when we're not automatically included. We're not automatically included. So I think that's the bare minimum. I mean, like you said, he's taking credit for something that is the bare minimum for the job. I mean, it'd be even more impressive if there was additional funding coming in and we're getting a more proportionate amount as compared to other states rather than the bare minimum, like I keep saying. Yeah.
Alexander?
In total of his address, in my opinion, is sort of a quite, how do I say this, normal address. It feels very much like a typical like politician, like, stating good times and sort of taking sort of some credit for what has been accomplished. That is at least my opinion. Of course he tries to distribute credit to others as well during his entire speech. However, to me, it sort of felt like, a promise of good times to come overall. And I think that's a bit optimistic. However, that's just my opinion.
Right. Well, own your opinion, brother. Al, there were some bills that were passed here by the Guam Youth Congress. You want to run through those?
Yeah. So I know we just had to transmit it, like, I think from March until last month's session. So it took time for us because like sometimes it takes time for us to transmit. But some of the important bills that I sent you is like Bill 6, which is, if I'm not mistaken, this is for the automatic voter registration in public schools and the Guam Community College and University of Guam. And of course, Bill 9 is making sure that charter school teachers are certified. And of course, Bill 13 is Representative Nolan's bill, which is to reform the SHPO.
The SHPO's office, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. In what ways?
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Vice Speaker. Yeah, so Bill 13-33 in the Youth Congress, it seeks to add minimum qualifications to the SHPO. And it also, minimum qualifications, meaning they need to have a certain degree sort of related to historical preservation, even if that's a degree like tomorrow studies even, or they need to have experience in the field so that it's not just someone who has no experience in the field tasked with this enormous mission of protecting our resources and really serving as our only point or our only point of contact between the federal government and our local government. And then it also kind of legislates proactively against conflicts of interest. So it prohibits the holder of the office from serving either concurrently in federal position or even serving within 2 years of past federal employment.
Yeah. So also basically sounds like you guys are targeting the sitting SHPO. Pat Lujan, who's I think he's in the Air Force, Reserve, and also serving as the SHPO. And interesting. So let me ask you, Alexander, did you support this measure?
I did generally support this measure. I wasn't too involved in the making of it. However, I generally support
So you voted
what
for
has
it?
to present to the table.
Right. So, I mean, how do you think these concerns that you guys brought up in this legislation that you passed at the Guam Youth Congress level, it kind of sounds like you guys are saying that there are issues with the current SHPO office. I mean, duh.
Yeah, I agree to that. Yeah, so that's why I co-sponsored the bill with Representative Flores. And yeah, I think that the SHPO office for a certain period of time, the SHPO officer is not available due to military deployment.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also reflective of the greater issue, right? And our territorial status and the fact that we have our office of the SHPO that is not just dealing with the military, but it also deals with local development that's being really inundated, bombarded by the huge construction occurring up there. I mean, just driving up there and seeing the trees that are cut down and just the massive level of construction up there, it's really disheartening. And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of the community outcry, especially in the Youth Congress. So, I mean, I think that was the most co-sponsors for a bill in this term. So it really just sends a message, I think, that something must be done. If not the SHPO, something more must be done to protect our resources, whether it's like a new programmatic agreement or something. I think that's the message that it sends.
Right. Well, guys, a good talk. I'll catch up again next week. I'll bring you guys back on as we got a couple segments that we got to take care of. Really interesting, though, that you guys bring up this conflict of interest, because I know that has been a conversation with a lot of the activist community, but I don't think I've seen it reach the legislature, the session floor. I don't know if that has been an issue. And you're right. I mean, it does appear to be. I mean, if you're policing the federal government and you're part of the federal government, and I know, Pat, but just on its face, right, it kind of seems like a big conflict. Like, how would you even tell the military what to do when you're in the military, right? So it is what it is, guys.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. The bill should be introduced in the legislature soon, so
I see.
We're waiting on that. Yeah,
right on. And then
thanks for having us.
Yeah, when we get on next, Al, I want to talk about this cottage industry bill that you guys are looking at. I know the grown-up legislature hasn't addressed it, but I did want to kind of go in on that with their next appearance on the show.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice Speaker Alexander. Good talk, Nolan. Good talk, my friend. That's that. Algamon, Jos. Let's get into it. 9:47, guys. Ooh, tight squeeze. I love a tight squeeze. Let's go ahead and Talk Shop Tuesdays with our friends at Pacific Grocers. Join us each week for Talk Shop Tuesdays on the link. Tune in every Tuesday morning as Chris, Sabrina, and the rest of the crew take on challenges using different products in their own unique ways, whether it's using familiar items or new products hitting the shelves. It's bound to be competitive and super entertaining. Talk Shop Tuesdays on the link. Brought to you by your friends at Pacific Grocers, brands you trust by people you trust.
Talking Shop Tuesdays on The Link, brought to you by your friends at Pacific Grocers, brands you trust by people you trust.
Hey guys, so today we are gonna make something with this silk almond milk. Calcium for strong bones, apparently. We were gonna make a smoothie, but that seems kind of simple. So instead, we're gonna make a chia pudding, like a yogurt pudding. So for this recipe, you'll need a couple things. You'll need vanilla extract. You'll need some honey. This is some honey that my dad farmed at his little farm. Shout outs to my dad. You need some cocoa powder. You need a little bit of chia seeds. Of course, you'll need this silk almond milk. And last but not least, you'll need a little bit of Greek yogurt. I like this one, plain traditional. You could get flavored, but you know, you're gonna put chocolate powder, so you probably just want plain yogurt. So this is really simple to make. It just takes a little bit of time because it takes 4 hours for the pudding or whatever to firm up. So I'm just gonna put the ingredients into a small mixing bowl first. So I'll take a cup of this yogurt. Well, that's a lot of yogurt. I'll take that should be a cup. And then take a cup of the almond milk. Almond milk is really just almonds and water grinded down. FYI, if you didn't know. So if you were going to cook with it, like if you were going to make like buttermilk pancakes or something, you would need to add a thickener to it. But we don't need to do that for this. This will be pretty simple. You'll also need a 1/4 cup of the chia seeds. So if I can figure out how to, there you go. That's actually quite a bit of chia seeds. And then I like to put the vanilla extract in first, and you just need very little. Vanilla extract can be very, very strong. So we're just gonna put, we will put 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, okay? Oh, you gotta be careful, this is potent. The vanilla extract, too much of vanilla extract can really ruin something, so you don't want to put too much. And then we want 2 tablespoons of cocoa and honey. So here we go. Yeah, as you can tell, this is not what I would call the healthy version of this pudding, but I digress. Now also, after we freeze this, you're gonna want to put like a topping, so you can use like granola or almonds or even like chocolate chip. So we'll see. And here's some home harvested honey from my dad. Shout outs to my dad, Paul Nicholas. You get to see this glorious honey. Like this one. Oh, look at that. Look how thick that honey is. Oops. Gonna have to get someone to clean that up. And then all you gotta do is just mix it and put it in the refrigerator for 4 hours. So, all right. So, you know, after some stirring and whisking, we have this little concoction, and I'm just gonna pour that into the Pyrex now. And hopefully I don't spill this all over the sink or the stove. And ooh, looks even nicer than I thought. All right, and then all you got to do is seal it and put it in the refrigerator for 4 hours. So we're gonna put that in the fridge and we'll come back in 4 hours and check how it looks. It's the moment of truth. It's been 4 hours, so we're gonna see how the thing turned out. And this is like 4 servings maybe, so. Oh, that looks delicious. And then I got some sliced almonds here. And we're just gonna top it with a couple of those. And bam, there you have it. Delicious looking Chia chocolate pudding. Let me try it. Let me try it. Bite real quick. Mmm. It is so good. It's like you know, like Jello pudding or those pudding snacks. It's almost exactly like that, but better. So definitely try this recipe out. Very easy, very good. Remember, you can add other stuff. You can add berries or strawberries or bananas or manzanita. Maybe I'll make a manzanita version one of these days. Anyway, try it out.
With our friends at Pacific Grocers, and a great product here. We have Silk Almond Milk Dark Chocolate flavor. That is so bougie. And I'm gonna try and make a 2-ingredient Silk Almond Milk Dark Chocolate ice cream. Okay, it's gonna be super fun. I actually brought my ice cream maker from the house, and this is gonna be really, really easy. And I'm gonna show you how to make it. So easy, even you could do it. That's next on Talk Shop Tuesdays with Pacific Grocers. Silk Dark Chocolate. Ooh. Right on. I got it. Okay. It's one of my favorite kitchen items, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this silk open. Let it rain down. Chocolate rain. I'm gonna go ahead and use make a small batch of this stuff. Go right in there. This stuff is absolutely great to drink too, you know, so if you want, you can drink it up. And then because this almond milk is healthy, and it doesn't have maybe the fat content of a heavy cream or a whole cow's milk that you normally use to make ice cream, we're gonna do a little secret trick here, and I've actually mashed up some bananas, some ripe bananas. And this is how I hope we're gonna trick the ice cream maker into thinking that this is really fat cow's milk. And that is literally it. We're going to mix that up a little bit. Starting to look more creamy. Smooth like silk. Got our banana chunks in there. Alright, it's very thick. Guys, our silk dark
dark chocolate has been transformed. We're gonna let it go a little bit longer in the freezer just to really set it up. But look at that. So that banana kind of spread it out, but you know, all the ice cream maker really does is it stirs it and it puts air into your mix so that it gives it some body. And so we're gonna go ahead and don't tell Sabrina I'm on her desk. Look at that. Dude! Look at that! Wow! Silk! Call me Silk the Shocker because shocking you guys with this dark chocolate, banana. Look at that. We're gonna go ahead and smooth it down a little bit. I'm actually gonna throw this in the freezer for about 15-20 minutes just to really let it set. But as you can see, look at that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take this silky silk ice cream, we'll put it in there, and we're gonna, ooh.
I love silk milk.
Banana.
That's nice. It's nice and light.
It's nice and light.
I don't feel guilty, especially with our weight loss challenge going on. It's nice.
Right on. Would you believe me if I told you it only has 2 ingredients?
Just the banana and milk, right?
Silk brand dark chocolate almond milk and banana.
I love silk milk. I can drink silk milk on its own. It's delicious.
So now you can make ice cream out of it.
Right on.
All right, and we're gonna get Betty Ann to try this silk almond milk dark chocolate banana ice cream.
This is actually really good.
You sound surprised.
Because normally I don't like what you make.
Yeah, I know.
And this is actually really good.
What does it taste like? Describe it. Use your adjectives.
Have you ever tried the Mungie Pops? It tastes like the chocolate
hazelnut
spread one.
Oh yeah, with
it's
a little banana,
so
right?
delicious.
Would you believe me if I told you that this ice cream only had 2 ingredients?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, right. The 2 ingredients are Silk brand dark chocolate almond milk and bananas. That's it.
For real?
That's it, for real!
This is really good. So wait, how did you do it?
I just put it in the ice cream maker.
Talking Shop Tuesdays on The Link, brought to you by your friends at Pacific Grocers. Brands you trust by people you trust. Shop Tuesdays on The Link, brought to you by your friends at Pacific Grocers. Brands you trust by people you trust.
Thank you so much, Pacific Grocers. Yeah, I just put it in the ice cream maker. That's all I did. Thank you guys so much to our partners at Pacific Grocers. It's been a great run for Talk Shop Tuesdays. As you can see here, we have the Silk Almond Milk family, guys. Good stuff. KUAM TV for Jason Solis. My name is Chris. It's been another great episode of The Link. KUAM TV land. Hasta. Adios! We're going to finish up here with Cover Me, which is brought to you by Burger King, giving you another heads up. Tomorrow's Whopper Wednesday. You get a Whopper, you tell them I love the Whopper, and they're going to give you a free one just like that, okay? Make sure you tell them the link sent you. Cover Me, brought to you by Docomo Pacific and Burger King. Good morning, and thanks so much for today, guys. Hasta.
Yo, what is up, guys? I'm going to be doing a cover of Forrest Black, If You Love Her, and this song was requested from my good friend, Ro. Hope you guys enjoy it. Take it, she gives you her heart, don't you break it. Let your arms be a place she feels safe in. She's the best thing that you'll ever have. She always has trouble falling asleep. She likes to cuddle She loves pop songs and dancing and bad trash TV. And there's still a few other things